on my tongue, iron in my lungs, blood on the snow, name on their shields, night in my veins, storm in my ears, wolves trace our steps, God's count our kills. You are waiting for Valhalla, I can hear it in your roar. Every scar a burning banner, every heartbeat keeps the door. You are waiting for Valhalla as the crows begin to call. If I fall in thunder. You are waiting for Valhalla. Frost on the oars, breathe like white smoke. Eyes on the shore, fire in the dark. Oath on my tongue, salt on my cloak. If this is the end, let it leave a mark. You are waiting for Valhalla, I can hear it in your roar. Every scar a burning banner, every heartbeat keeps the door. You are waiting for Valhalla as the crows begin to call. If I fall in thunder. You are waiting for Valhalla. If I do not see the morning, carry my name in your mouth. Raise up the horn, pour the glory, let my children hear the shout. Hey! You are waiting for Valhalla, I can hear it in your roar. Hey! Every scar a burning banner, every heartbeat keeps the door. You are waiting for Valhalla as the crows begin to call. If we fall in thunder. You are waiting for Valhalla. Hey! Hey! Hey!
All right, here we go. Welcome back to our Tuesday night, politics stream, current events stream. We got some, of course, some big things to talk about tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We all know that 800-pound gorilla in the room, which is, the court documents or the coming out of the court files that looks like the bullet inside Charlie Kirk, if it was inside Charlie Kirk, we're going to talk about that. Who knows at this point, does not match the magic 30-06. Uh-oh. So we're obviously going to talk about that. We're going to talk about, what does this mean? What does it all mean? Where do we go from here now? If we can't match the magic 30-06 to Tyler Robinson, who's the shooter? How was he killed? We're gonna talk about all those things. All right. Excuse me. We're gonna talk about what's going on with the ongoing Iran war that we already won. I believe 12 times now. Donald Trump has announced that we've achieved total victory in Iran. So it's going well. We've won that war 12 times now. So we're gonna, of course, talk about that. We're gonna talk about the economy because the economy is in the absolute shitter, of course. And then we'll talk a little bit about Trump, Republicans, Democrats, and whatever else is going on in the news this week. All right, should be a good show. All right, we'll kick this off. Where is everybody tuning in from? Now we're also going to do a poll to start this show off. And we're just going to say, how do we want to phrase this? We'll just say, is Robinson the shooter? Some people are saying that this changes nothing. That the fact that they can't ballistically match the bullet or fragments of a bullet inside of Charlie to the weapon used, and that's not a big deal. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Let's see what we got. Sydney, Mexico, New Mexico. Hell yeah. Florida, Kentucky, London. Okay. A lot of Floridas. I'm seeing a lot of Floridas. A lot of Floridas here. Australia, Kalamazoo. All right. Berlin. Very nice. Okay. All right. We're going to go ahead and get this thing kicked off. And again, first thing we're going to talk about is, of course, what's going on with the Charlie Kirk assassination trial, because, oh boy, this just threw a huge wrench in the system. Actually, before we do that, we're going to hit a couple of the super chats because we got them before the show started. So just make sure we don't fall too far behind. Thank you very much for the 50 memberships from Quantum Trinity. Super generous of you, brother. And a $50 donation. Man, waiting on a phone call with Nick Bryant today. I've been accepted to the Board of Advisors for Epstein Justice. Excited and just wanted to share with the community. Love this channel and community. Bless us all. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. The Board of Advisors for Epstein Justice. We could use some accountability. So good to hear that we got a lot of people working on that. We'll see. You have to update us to see what you guys are going to be working on, trying to get done. Thank you very much, brother. Good to see you here as well. Jolly Lolly says, perhaps you should get elected U.S. Senator, march into the District of Criminals and take charge of the situation. You got my vote if I live there. No, thank you. I have no interest in politics. Talking about politics, sure. Running for politics, yeah, not for me. You just don't have any. I mean, at this point, you don't have any actual ability to change anything because the swamp is so deep. So I have a lot more influence from my YouTube channel than I would as a congressman. So. Adam, what's up, buddy? Says, looks like us conspiracy theorists, we're on to something. LOL. Yeah, yep. Officer Tantrum will figure out the bullet issue. I'm waiting for his explanation on why this doesn't matter at all. I'm sure it's coming. Ben Shapiro, Officer Tantrum. Oh, also, if you guys didn't know, we're going to talk about it. They've all been caught being tied to a FARA agent, then being paid to push Hasbara Israel propaganda, including Officer Tatum. So we're going to talk about that report coming out from a creator called Danks as well in the first part of the section of the show. This honestly might be as big as the OJ trial. If they televise it, I bet you they won't. I bet you they're going to ban cameras. I have a feeling it's coming. Google David Vallejos and Rob Bonta and Chad Bianco challenging the unconstitutional CCW scheme in California. Look it up and spread the word. Chad Bianco is running for governor, isn't he? As far as I remember, he was one of the front runners, I thought. All right, and then a couple more, and we're jumping into it. Sergeant, I love your intro. Being a fellow Norse and lover of Ragnar, we've been so misrepresented throughout time. Just saying, love your intro. Go Vikings. Hell yeah. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, our friend Jared Taylor made that song for us and the intro. Did both the artwork and the music for us. So big thing. Shout out to him. And so thank you very much. AJ says, next the FBI is going to say the shooter was on the grassy knoll. There was a few grassy knolls there. Love the show, Nate. Keep pressing forward. Thank you, Steve. Thank you. All right, and then we're jumping into it. Inconclusive or not match? What's your take? I'm an explosive in the shirt guy, but curious. It's the same. That means the same thing. I keep saying this. People are very, very confused. We're talking about in the court of law, legalities. Okay, so what they're saying is they can't conclusively match the bullet, the fragments of the bullet, to the murder weapon. So that is what they mean by they cannot match them, which means it's not permissible evidence to the court. If you can't prove that the bullet inside of the body was shot by that gun, and you have no evidence otherwise to show that, no longer permissible evidence because there's no match. So the people who keep trying to tell you, oh, they're saying it's inconclusive. That doesn't mean that it's not a match. That's literally what that means. That they can't conclusively match the bullet to the gun. So I hope that helps people. I'm not trying to be rude, but I don't understand how that's not computing to people when you hear they can't conclusively match the bullet to the rifle. Okay. And that's from an ATF ballistics forensics expert put onto the case. This isn't Nate. This isn't some random guy who put this out on a YouTube video. This is from the actual person that they're hiring to do the forensics for the trial, for the case. One of two. The ATF is doing their side. The FBI is doing their side. Okay. Good thing we can understand that. Okay. Let's jump into it. Let's talk about it. All right. So this is obviously the breaking news as of last night. Charlie Kirk, lawyers of a man accused of assassination investigate claim bullet used doesn't match the rifle at the scene. The success of a forensic ballistics analysis done by the ATF largely depends on the size and condition of the bullet fragments. All right. So as it says here, defense lawyers representing Tyler Robinson, who stand accused of taking out conservative activist Charlie Kirk, have requested a postponement of a preliminary hearing scheduled for May. The legal team claims it requires additional time to investigate suggestions that a bullet recovered during the autopsy does not correspond with the rifle found close to the crime scene. Now, you may be asking yourself, why would the defense team ask for a delay in this case, right? You would think, oh, do they want to rush? They would want to rush this to trial now that we know that. No, what the defense team wants to do is add this into the evidence as evidence that's going to exonerate Tyler Robinson. So expulcatory. I can't talk right now. Can't talk. Expulcatory. I can't even say the word. Anyway, evidence. It's evidence that I believe it's help me out, guys. I'm brain farting. I can't say it. I believe it's expulcatory evidence. Yeah, I'm not saying that right. Hold on. Or am I saying it right? Yeah, it's expulcatory evidence. I'm saying it right. I don't know why I'm brain farting there. Exculpatory evidence. Yeah, my bad. Brain farting. I've been rushing to put all this together while we're still moving for the show tonight. Anyway, what that means in a court case is evidence that will be used to exonerate Tyler Robinson, not evidence that will be used to find him guilty. So what they want to do is have the trial thrown out completely. So they're going to say you can't tie this murder weapon to the bullet, so you have no actual proof that our client ever did this. So we need to completely drop the case. Now, will that happen? Probably not, because the prosecution, exculpatory. Yeah, there you go. Exculpatory. My bad. I knew that. I was just brain farting on it. But again, it's evidence that's going to exonerate Tyler, not be used by the prosecution, which is a huge, huge deal for the trial. Because if the murder weapon is now used as something that exonerates Tyler, that's not what the prosecution wants at all. That's bad, bad, bad news for the prosecution, right? So we'll have to wait and see how that turns out. Now, what's also a big problem is what they found is there is also upwards of 7 different people's fingerprints and DNA on the Magic 30-06. So that's also a really big problem for the story, the narrative. Why would there be 7 different people's fingerprints on Grandpa's old Mauser that apparently was sitting in, a garage or a basement for 30 years that got pulled out by Tyler? Why would it be covered in 7 different people's fingerprints? Odd. Now, something even more bizarre that adds to this. I don't know if you guys saw this yet. This is also breaking. Look at this guy. Bro, you're a compulsive liar. All I've talked about is literally shit coming straight off of news. And this fucking retard is throwing a tantrum already. I haven't even got to my personal opinions, you dumb fuck. What, you don't like the news? Does the news hurt your feelings? Okay. Oh no, the news. I don't like the news because it doesn't go with my narrative. Yeah, too fucking bad. You're a retard. That's the way it goes. Okay, so this also just happened today, right after news came out about the bullet not matching the rifle. Guess what else happened? The head sheriff, Nate Brooksby, who arranged for the accused Charlie Kirk assassin Tyler Robinson to turn himself in, has suddenly resigned from his position at the sheriff's department. I'm sure this is a huge coincidence. I'm sure there's no correlation between the fact that the head sheriff for the case in Utah chose to resign just about, I think, like 2 hours after this story broke. Now, if you remember who he was the sheriff that initially came out and debunked the story that Tyler Robinson's father turned him in. If you guys don't remember that, he was the one that came out and said, no, it actually wasn't Tyler Robinson's parents. They never turned him in. It was one of my friends, not me, but I'm saying what the sheriff said at a presser. He said, it was one of my friends who retired out of the force a few years ago, who was Tyler Robinson's Boy Scout instructor, or something of the like. And he recognized Tyler from the photos, and he reached out to the family, and he's the one who went and convinced Tyler to turn himself in by telling him that if he didn't turn himself in, that they were going to show up to his house and kill him. So that sheriff has now resigned. But again, I'm sure it's a massive coincidence. The timing, there could be nothing suspicious about the timing on all this at all. If I had to guess, he probably knows what lack of evidence they have. And now that he's seeing, oh shit, this might exonerate the kid. What are we going to do? He was the one in charge of the investigation, right? The FBI, is helping assist the Utah Sheriff's Department, but the Utah Sheriff's Department is the ones in charge of the entire investigation. The FBI helps them. So he's the one that takes all the brunt. If Tyler walks free, that dude, well, he would have been the one that everybody would have pointed their fingers at and said, you botched this. But he said, nah, dog. Nah, the Jonah Hill meme, you know the Jonah Hill meme? Nah, dude. No, he got out quick. He said, no, I'm cool. I'm out. I'm not even going to wait for the trial to start. The second that they came out and said that the bullet doesn't match the Magic 30-06, he was out. He said, no, thanks. We're done. Which, again, should tell you, not good. Now, I also see a lot of people trying to say this doesn't mean that a 30-06 wasn't used. It's just that the fragmentation of the bullet that they had in Charlie's body was so small that it still could have been. Okay, so I get it. You don't understand how ballistics works with a 30-06. A 30-06 is not going to hit human flesh and disintegrate completely other than a tiny little fragment. What it does tell us, if this is all they have is a tiny little sliver of a fragment in Charlie's body, that tells us automatically it most certainly was not a 30-06, because a 30-06 round is not going to fragment like that. Even the frangible rounds have now been tested, 30-06 frangible rounds, and they blow straight through everything too. And my buddy Jimmy Watson, fellow Navy SEAL, who again has been saying the exact same thing I have from day one, also explained this pretty well.
This video for views, I would just say Israel killed Charlie Kirk. Come to think about it, I am doing this video for views. Otherwise, I would just film myself talking in the bathroom. It has been brought to my attention that there are still a few people saying that just because the ATF report says that it's inconclusive and that there's no match based on a piece of fragmentation of a bullet, doesn't mean that it's not a 30-06. But you see, by saying that it's just a fragmentation of a bullet proves in of itself that it's not a 30-06, because they've already proven by way of physics that it's not possible for a 30-06 round to fragment like that. Other people are saying, no, that's the defense's argument. Well, how else do you think the defense came to that argument? You're wrong. They didn't just pull that out of thin air. They actually went off the ATS report that went off the autopsy report that says the fragmentation cannot be matched to Robinson's rifle. Yeah, I got you, because if it's a fragmentation of a bullet, it can't be a 30-06. And for the few of you that are still holding on that it's a 30-06 round like Erica Kirk, I'm beginning to think you're feds. I am not saying that Tyler Robinson wasn't used in some kind of weird way, but I am saying that Erica Kirk owes Tyler Robinson an apology. I actually can't wait for the comments on this video that try to argue that it's still a 30-06 bullet that went into his little fleshy neck, hit a chicken bone, did a freaking 90 straight down and exploded like a grenade.
Yeah, I mean, we all knew it was the dumbest thing. Why are people saying no audio? Everybody's saying audio is good, not good. Are we good? Audio is fine. Refresh. There you go. It's probably a YouTube thing. Okay, so No, audio's not down because everybody's telling me it's good. Just refresh. It sounds like a YouTube problem, guys. Just refresh your browser. So to Jimmy's point there, yeah, like the whole 30-06 story, I've been saying it from, you guys realize, and I put this out in my video, you guys realize I was the first, I'm the one who pushed this to begin with, that the FBI narrative was bullshit and there's no way a 30-06 was used. That was Nate that started this whole thing on the internet. And I started it on September 12th. If you didn't know, and I can pull the video up, and I'm not just saying this to toot my own horn. I'm just saying I staked my credibility on this very early, well before anybody else really was willing to, because again, I'm not saying I'm some guru. I just knew immediately that there was no way that 30-06 hit Charlie Kirk and created no exit wound. It just wasn't ever going to be a thing. And so let's see, what did I got the video here. Yeah, here we go. So this was right here. Here's the video. 6 months ago, this was posted on September 12th. Is the FBI lying about the Charlie Kirk situation? This whole video was about how 30-06 narrative is bullshit and the FBI is lying. So, yeah, I mean, I've been talking about this since basically 24 hours afterwards, and everybody's called me a conspiracy theorist. Steven Crowder called me a lying conspiracy theorist, right? I didn't know what I was talking about. You also had who else called me tinfoil hat, said said they all knew better than me. It's like, okay, maybe, but it turns out I said it like 24 hours after he was shot. And because, like, again, I'm not some major guru, but we all knew, right? Like, everybody who's hunted, everybody who's in the military, they all are already all knew. And not only that, how many other special operators and hunters and Marine Scout snipers and Marines and infantrymen were all saying the same thing? This is bullshit. We know this is bullshit from day one. All of us were. And nobody wanted to listen to the people that you could consider experts, not just me, but tons of people in the space that are experts. We're the lying conspiracy theory grifters. And it turns out, no, we were not, were we? Now we have to figure out, okay, well, if we can't match those weapons together, can't match the bullet inside Charlie to the weapon, what the hell is actually going on here? Is there now the conspiracy theories now, or I call them conspiracy theories, we quote them because obviously the FBI narrative was always the biggest conspiracy theory. Well, what do we got here? Well, let's do some hypotheticals here. Okay. Well, if we're assuming that the defense's report coming out of the ATF is accurate, which I'm going to assume it is if the defense is using it, they're saying that there is bullet fragments or a bullet inside of Charlie's neck. So what that tells us is he was shot with a higher powered rifle round, which I've said from day one, I do believe he was, based off the cavitation in his neck and all those things. It looked like, but I always thought it was a smaller caliber round, an AR-15 round, or, a 223, 5.56, 300 blackout. I said that from day one, day two. That's what it looked like to me and still looks like. Well, if we don't have the 30-06, something shot him. But again, this is operating under the assumptions that the ATF report is real. Who's to say this isn't also part of some big weird cover-up? I don't know. I'm just going hypothetically. If the ATF report is true, they pulled the fragments out of Charlie, he compares them to the rifle, and he can't get a match. That tells us he was shot. What was he shot by, and who was he shot by, and where was he shot? Because also what we know is the angle that he was shot from never made sense to begin with the injury that we were told. But it did make sense from different locations around there. So again, I don't know. We don't know. But the big problem we have here now is that's their only suspect. They put everything on Tyler Robinson. Remember? Kash Patel's FBI. They were done with their investigation within 48 hours. We know that. And then they shut down Joe Kent, Tulsi Gabbard, the National Counterterrorism Center. We know that they shut down the CIA from also trying to investigate this and look into foreign involvement and foreign ties. And they just said, we're good. We got him. No more investigation. Okay, what happens now if Tyler walks? Who's your suspect? You don't have any other suspects. What do they say? They just go, oh, well, this is all Candace Owens' fault because she what's it called when you taints the jury pool. She tainted the jury pool. That's what they're going to blame it on. Just wait. TPU, if he walks, which I think there's a high possibility he walks. If he walks, that will be the narrative from the Zionist and TPUSA and Erica Kirk, and that is that, well, it was because of Candace Owens and Nate and Ian Carroll, and they all tainted the jury. That's why it happened. That'll be the lie. That'll be the lie that they try to shill out because they have nothing. If he walks, they have nothing. They have no other suspect. They have no other lead. The investigation's been done for 6 months. They're hosed. But what that also tells me is the prosecution basically has to do everything in their power to take this to trial. Even if they have nothing and they know they're going to lose, they have to take it to trial. They cannot just go, whoops, screwed this one up. Sorry, guys. Well, sorry, America. Turns out this kid didn't do it, but I guess the story's over. But what are they going to do? I don't know. Maybe there's a bunch more evidence that we don't know about. But remember, we were also told by TPUSA that there is insurmountable levels of evidence. This is the most evidence anybody has ever seen for a murder trial ever. Remember that? Remember when they told us that? And it's like, oh, really? Because now with the first big piece of evidence that's been released to us turns out it's not going to be permissible evidence. And it's the most important evidence. In fact, it's about it's the pillar of evidence, the murder weapon. If you can't match the murder weapon to the shot, that's it. Like you got nothing. Because we have to convict Tyler Robinson beyond a reasonable doubt. And if you don't have a murder weapon, you don't know there's no understanding the ballistics to this. There's also so much controversy around this story. There's no way you're getting a jury of 12 people to convict him on what, vibes? Hey, look, we don't really know how the kid pulled it off, but he must have. Like, no. And then also, okay, if we can't match the round inside Charlie to the random chicken coop 30-06, who the fuck put that 30-06 there? It wasn't used to take out Charlie. What the hell was it doing there? Who put it there? Tyler Robinson put it there and then went to the roof and left it there, but didn't use it? Does that make sense? And also the bomb dogs that we know, the sheriff's department bomb dogs, couldn't find this rifle, obviously because it hadn't been shot. And now, that starts to all make a lot more sense, right? The reason why the bomb dogs couldn't find the 30-06 in the chicken coop is because it hadn't been shot, so there was no explosive residue for the dogs to smell, which makes perfect sense now that round doesn't match that 30-06 because it was never fucking fired. Not within, enough time for those bomb dogs to find. But then the FBI shows up and finds it immediately. Walks straight to the chicken coop. Here it is. Okay. And then what do they tell us? Tyler Robinson's dad recognizes his rifle, even though it was a fake picture that went up. That's not even the real picture. And that's why he turned him in. Then we find out that's not true. Sheriff's department has to come out and correct the record and say, no, actually, his parents never admitted to him doing it and never said they turned him in. It was a family friend. So, but then also we have to get into what were the love letters? Those random letters from Tyler that sounded like, 16th century Shakespearean talk, my love, and all those things, which it just looked like ChatGPT written garbage. That's your evidence now, by the way. You can't match any evidence to the actual shot. So now you got to use this bizarre text message that nobody believes he actually sent to begin with, because that's not the way Gen Z kids talk. It's not the way a 22-year-old kid talks. And then what about the bullets? What about all these bullets that you found that had, what was it, catch fascist and all these things? Where are those? Who put those there? Why did he inscribe a bunch of bullets and then leave them in the woods, but with a gun in a chicken coop? None of this is making any sense anymore. Right? Now we're going, okay, I still do think Tyler Robinson's involved. I think he's a patsy. I said that on Alex Jones. I was just on Alex Jones' shows earlier today. We were talking about that. I'll be back on his show tomorrow for a full hour segment to talk about this and the Warning Run, by the way, if you want to watch that. But I said this on his show on like day 4 after this happened, that if I had to guess, what I thought was that and you can go back and check the episode. It's at the end of the first episode we did together. I thought if I put on my tinfoil hat, maybe what could have happened, this was some type of MK Ultra style thing with Tyler Robinson, where they convince him to be a part of this, and they get him to bring the 30-06 with him. It's his family's 30-06. Hey, we need you to go stash it there by the chicken coop, right? So that way the real shooter can come get it later. And so he goes and he stashes it, and then they tell him to go to the roof so he can spot or keep an eye on whatever. He goes to the roof, and then all of a sudden, as he's watching, boom, gunshot goes off. You see him panic. He takes off running off the roof with no rifle. And you potentially have an actual, professional shooter in a different location with a smaller caliber rifle like an AR-15 that can be very easily collapsible into a backpack that nobody would ever see, because if he was an actual professional, he would have been offset in a whole separate room. Nobody would have ever seen him or where the shot came from. And then boom, there's your patsy, and he's on camera and he's running away, and bow, you got him, right? I don't know if that's true, but to me, if we're going under the assumption that there are bullet fragments inside Charlie, but they're not from that weapon, they're from a different weapon, now you got a second shooter. You got a second shooter somewhere, right? So the idea that Charlie's alive somewhere is gone out the window. Now, again, this is under the hypotheticals that they took these bullet fragments out of his dead body. They did that, then we know he's dead. And then we also know, electrocution goes out the window. Again, hypotheticals here. I'm not saying that the ATF report is guaranteed to be true, because who fucking knows with this thing right now. But if this is true, it throws a lot of theories out the window. Right now, you have some type of rifle used to carry this out. And if it's not the 30-06, is it Tyler Robinson with a different rifle he had with him? It seems like they would have told us that by now, because they would have found that, right? I don't know. We also had all the bizarre stuff going on with multiple people in the crowd. You had George Zen, right, dropping his pants, saying it was him. You had the I forget the guy's name, curly haired dude that ended up putting on all the crazy shit on that Jesse's show covered. All of these people who were obviously involved, but I don't know. We always thought that this was some type of high level, at least helped by some high level hit or foreign adversary or something. But now, again, Tyler Robinson as the shooter, nobody really believed that to begin with, because it never made sense. And now, I don't know what they get him on, guys. Well, like, what are they going to charge him with? Or how do they find him guilty? We should do a poll on this one. Is Tyler Robinson the shooter? Yeah, 95% no, 5% yes. Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, again, we don't know, but it sure isn't looking like it. Let's see. Let's do another one here. Does this go to trial? You guys even think this is going to go to trial now? This is like the first big pieces of evidence that have come out. That's just immediately like, oh, wow, that's not good for the prosecution. And for all these people that are involved. Next, I want to talk about these same people that are going to come out and grift and have been grifting and saying, hey, shut up, you shut your mouths, you guys can't question this, you got to believe the FBI narrative. So a couple of the stories, I believe the initial story actually was done by Danks. We're going to look at his post here, but Bays covered this, and it talks about, guess what? All the 7K Club, they got exposed for being part of an agency that's getting paid off by foreign agents in Israel. Yeah, and it's pretty much proven now. So let's jump into that story, because it's also going to be relevant to all of the people, Officer Tatum and Prager and all of these, Shapiro, all of these people that have been championing the FBI narrative is true, looks like have been getting paid by Israel to do it. So we'll get into that story next. Okay. Let's actually watch Bay's video, then we'll look at Dank's actual post on this.
The Charlie Kirk Show.
Oh, let me restart this one. All right, here we go.
The Charlie Kirk Show, Josh Hammer, Dennis Prager, Laura Trump, Dinesh D'Souza, however you pronounce that asshole's name, and scumbag Brandon Tatum, along with others, are all affiliated with Salem Media. So Salem Media's chief strategy officer is a man named Bradley Pascal. Now, if you remember that name, Bradley Pascal, it's from those FARA documents that we've been talking about that came out in September after Charlie died. We have it on the record and verified that Bradley Pascal is a registered foreign agent with our not-so-greatest ally. When you look at the big picture with his alleged mental instability, his history of double-crossing Donald Trump, the fact that he is an Israeli foreign agent, that he worked with Charlie Kirk for about 10 years, that his name is on the FARA documents as an agent for Israel just weeks after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. When Charlie Kirk was assassinated, days after saying that he was thinking about leaving the pro-Israel cause, allegedly assassinated. But we'll get back to that later. All right, so the Charlie Kirk Show.
Okay, now, Bays broke a lot of that down, but here's the actual reporting. This was done by Danks. And as it says here, did you know that Charlie Kirk Show, Josh Hammer, Dennis Prager, Laura Trump, Larry Elder, Hugh Hewitt, Dinesh D'Souza, Sebastian Gorka, Brandon Tatum, Todd Starnes, all broadcast on a network whose chief strategy officer is a federally registered foreign agent for the Israeli government. And here's his actual FARA registration with his FARA registration number. It's all here. It's filed with the Department of Justice. It's all public record. And yes, the broadcast network that pays all of these fucking people, right, then runs ads agencies and everything for them, their chief strategy officer is a fucking Israeli agent. Isn't that bizarre, isn't it? Yes, with Salem Media Group, the largest Christian conservative network in America, whose chief strategy officer, again, is registered under FARA as a foreign agent for Israel. And here's all the actual documents. You guys can go actually look at the post if you want to, really deep dive it. But as it says here, there is a $729 million Israeli Hasbara budget approved for 2026. That's this year. And tells you how much they're going to spend. And so, yes, $720 million worth of propaganda money to shell out to people like Brandon Tatum and Josh Hammer and Dennis Prager and all of these people. And there it is for you right there in the documents. So, wow. And there's probably a lot more people involved. That was just a small rundown list. Again, small list of the names who are all under that network. But again, if you guys want to dig into it, just look up Danks right here on Twitter. So Danks on Twitter, and it's all right here for you. I don't want to go through the whole thing. I don't want to steal his work, obviously, but he's been covering all of this stuff. And there you go. So isn't that interesting that the same people who've been telling everyone that it has to be the FBI narrative, 100%, got to believe it, are all with a broadcasting network whose chief strategy officer is a foreign agent from Israel. Oh, shocker. Whoa, who'd have thought? Yeah, we all knew who these people were being paid by and why they're being paid to do it. But also, isn't that a little bizarre? Why would these people want the FBI narrative to be true so bad? Well, because the alternative is what? We find out that maybe a foreign country was involved. Oh, wouldn't want to find that. Wouldn't want to find that out, huh? Ooh, yikes, guys. Yikes. So, again, where is this going to go from here? Well, one, now we have to try to figure out what actually happened, because the FBI is not going to help us figure out what actually happened. They have nothing. Are they going to reopen the investigation if he walks? I don't think they will. Again, I think they're just going to throw a tantrum. They're going to blame it on the America First grifters who had the audacity to question this. Also, I want you guys to think about something. I want you guys to think about this. Imagine if social media didn't exist. Imagine if there wasn't independent people like us out there that actually deep dive this, to cover it, to say, hey, pretty sure that wasn't a 30-06. Hey, pretty sure it's weird that, Charlie may have changed his entire perspective on a certain country beforehand. Hey, here's text messages from Charlie that are completely against what you guys are saying. Hey, all of these things nobody would have ever got had social media not been a thing. They'd have already offed this kid. They'd have run the trial immediately, shelled out the bullshit narrative to the U.S. people, and put him away, and put him under the firing squad, and it would be done, immediately done. The only reason why this is happening is because there's been such a massive push by independent creators online to not let this bullshit slide, to not let the very obviously fake story and narrative by the FBI be the official narrative. Nobody let it happen. And now, I don't know. I think they're, I'm sure they're panicking, right? If you're Kash Patel, you're not feeling good right now because there went your evidence. And now you're going to have to explain to the world if Tyler Robinson walks free. Again, I don't know if he will before trial or not. I don't know how he's going to be convicted unless there's this crazy amounts of evidence. I don't know what the evidence would be. What evidence would be missing? I mean, even if you have a photo or even if you have video of Tyler Robinson on a roof taking a shot with a 30-06, it still is like, well, doesn't sound like he's the shooter because you can't match the round to the 30-06, which you'd be able to do, by the way, with the 30-06 round. It's too big. It's not going to poof and shatter into a million pieces. Even a frangible round, we saw through ballistic testings from both Trigger Smart and Heavy Duty Country and Jesse went out and tested frangible rounds, 30-06 frangible rounds, and they blew right through everything too. So that doesn't even make sense. We even debunked that one. So again, it's I don't know, guys. It's wild. Okay, let's we got a lot of show to get through. We're gonna obviously be covering this more. Oh, Friday. This Friday, I'll have Chris Biota back on the show. Used to be basically the third in charge of the FBI, 25-year career. A lot of you guys know him. You've seen him on the channel. He's going to come on the channel, and he's going to help us break down how did the FBI fuck this up this bad. And Chris is gonna walk us through and help walk us through how does this even happen? How do you botch an investigation this bad? So that'll be a really good episode. So we'll deep dive that, and he'll be able to explain. Well, whatever they did wrong, he obviously is a big critic of this current FBI himself. Okay, now we're not done with Charlie Kirk. Well, Charlie Kirk's story yet. We got a few. Okay, we got to lighten the mood. I think I said this on Tuesday, and then I saw some memes for it, and I thought this was pretty good, right? You got Erica Kirk plus Gorlock is the tour to Kirk with Drusky's Kirk. So again, lighten the mood a little bit because that's pretty rough stuff that we're talking about right now. So there we go. We got the tour to Kirk with that one. A couple other good memes here. Of course, if you didn't know, JD Vance was quoted saying that Drusky, I know you guys, Drusky. Everybody got mad that I said Drusky, not Drusky, whatever. But anyway, JD Vance said Drusky was looking kind of cute when he was dressed up as Erica Kirk in the latest skit, which, we all are aware of that. It's mostly the leather pants. Also, here's another one. Isn't this interesting, guys? The FBI has spent more time investigating Joe Kent than they have the Charlie Kirk assassination. So sounds like potentially they're going to try to arrest Joe Kent before anybody in the Epstein files or anybody in the Charlie Kirk assassination, it looks like, as well. So that's great. One final one that's going to bring us into the second part of the show. Because again, TPUSA and Erica Kirk are trying to rewrite Charlie's legacy, but let's not let them do that. Let's talk about, or not us talk about, but let's let Charlie explain it. We haven't showed this clip on the channel yet.
Worst possible case scenario is Iran says, okay, you humiliated us, you killed all of our leaders. We're going to go make this a regional mess and try to get as many people involved as possible.
This was in 2019, by the way, even though it sounds like it was something you would read today.
They're going to go after Americans. They're going to go after Saudis. They're going to go after everybody imaginable just to create a big mess and to try to draw the world into it. Because understand, the Iranian people are widely respected and not necessarily are always in sync with leadership. But if and when the people of Iran feel like Persia is being defaced and humiliated and disrespected, we don't know where that is going to go. And that's my final reason why I am always skeptical of military intervention. And when a lot of the sometimes warmongering wing gets too excited, you don't know, actually. You need to have a lot of people. The worst.
Huh. Now, isn't that bizarre? Remember when Donald Trump said in the press conference that we can't believe that they attacked our Gulf allies and they shut down the Strait of Hormuz, and nobody knew that was going to happen. Nobody ever thought that was going to happen. Charlie Kirk wasn't even in the military. And that was literally him saying that right there. What are they going to do? They're going to attack our allies. They're going to attack, the Gulf states. We don't know what they're going to do. What's going to happen? Well, if we attack them, even if they don't like their leadership that much, they'll probably band together and fight against us. All of these things that he just said happened. Like, all of them happened. So obviously, this wasn't that. This, like, the idea that we didn't know Iran would do this. Whoa. Okay, well, Charlie Kirk knew Iran would do this 7 years ago, so obviously it wasn't that big of a secret that Iran was going to, I don't know, attack our military bases in the Gulf states and shut down the Strait of Hormuz like literally everybody said they were going to do. Well, yeah. But anyway, that is going to bring us into the next part of the show. Let's hit a couple super chats because they're already flying in. Oh, Jesus, guys. Not too many, maybe like 10. Then we're going to jump straight into Pete Hegseth, and we're going to talk about what's going on with the Iran war. Updates on that next, okay? Love show, Nate. We did this one already. Nick Freitas had good things to say about me today. No, there's no way he did. This has got to be sarcasm. I assumed he hated my guts. We are not ideologically aligned at all. At all. Is that is that sarcasm, guys? Was he talking shit? I don't really talk about him at all. I didn't like that he went after Joe Kent, but you guys can let me know. I would not expect him to say anything nice about me, though. So here we go. What's next for the crashing Noel Patel? Willis, we placed the wrong rifle. Yeah, hold my step stool. Yeah, I know. Trump sees an off-ramp, blames all the other NATO countries for not opening the strait. Yes, he's already signaling he might do this. Says fend for yourselves for energy after blowing it all up, and he gets his win. Sells our energy for top dollar, causing the issue. Yeah, it'll be great for the oil conglomerates, huh? It'll be great for the billionaires, and he'll just bow out, bounce, declare victory, and say, "Good luck, Asia." So all of you here in Australia and Japan and everywhere, you're gonna get cooked. But here's the problem. If Iran then says, okay, see ya, we control the Strait of Hormuz now, we're not opening it for your allies, oil's going to still stay above 150, maybe go up to $200 a barrel, which is great for Iran. And the global economy is cooked. And we're going to go into basically a Great Depression across the world if he does this and does nothing about the strait being open. And then all of our allies turn to BRICS, and the petrodollar collapses, and the American empire ends. And Donald Trump will get the credit for that. So I'd rather him not get the credit for it because I don't want the American empire to collapse. Really, I like being an American, so let's hope not. T-Bird, thank you. Tel Aviv being rocked by Iran, MSN. Nobody's covering it. It's actually illegal for Israelis to show anything. They'll get put in prison if they're showing anything. But yeah, that is happening. Look for this is a good one right here. We talked about this was probably going to happen, but now this gets a lot more likely and a lot more suspicious, huh? What are the odds the real shooter was off not that long after? There's possibility in that, but most likely if this is a high level hit, that professional shooter, he was gone on that Egyptian flight or whatever it was that day out of there, right? So he's probably been chilling in wherever ever since. Erica Kirk looks like Bride of Chucky. All right, last one. I didn't agree with everything Charlie Kirk said, but in the end really just had one enemy in common. It's starting to look that way. Okay. Let's kick it off. We got to have a little bit. We're going to, because serious topics, right? We always love to kick off the serious topics with a little bit of comedy. Although this is also just not comedy. It's also just accurate. So, take it for what it is. But it's funny, but also 100% accurate. So here's our Secretary of War.
Secretary Hegseth, regarding the escalating conflict in Iran, what is our exact strategy with the bombs?
The bombs. I'll tell you about the bombs. Nerd. You think Iran knows bombs. I mastered the bombs in 2004 at a frat house in Hoboken. Phase 1, the Jaeger bomb, German engineering. You take a shot of Jägermeister, you drop it into a crisp glass full of Red Bull, and you chug it. Total, immediate devastation of your central nervous system.
Sir, we're referring to the bombings in the Middle East.
Phase 2, the sake bomb. You balance the sake shot on 2 chopsticks over a Japanese lager. I prefer an ice-cold Sapporo. Now you pound the table with your fists like a goddamn patriot until it drops. Full Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Boom.
Sake bomb!
Okay. Well, have there been any updates on a possible end date to this war?
And if they push us, we go nuclear. Phase 3, the Irish car bomb. Jameson. Bailey's. Drop straight into a pint of Guinness. You have to chug it before the cream curdles. It is a race against time and your own gag reflex. Every last drop, you bozos.
Oh my God. I can smell him.
You media elites, weak, pathetic nerds, you can't handle these bombs? Now who's got a lighter? I'm doing a flaming Dr. Pepper.
Okay, I don't want the music to copyright me. But anyway, like I said, that was actually real. That is not AI. So just kidding, obviously. But also pretty accurate, right? Pretty accurate. Now, again, start with some comedy because we get in some very, very serious shit, which is that the United States military, according to the Pentagon, is preparing for a 2-month-long ground operation in Iran, per the Washington Post. American officials have confirmed the information. It's odd, guys, because we already won the war. So I'm not sure why we're preparing for a ground invasion to go fight a war that we already won. But yeah, 2 months, guys. Just a 2 months, a quick in and out. We're already in the second month of this one that they said was going to be done in 3 days. But just a quick 2 months in and out. You're not sure what we're ground invading, maybe Karg Island or Hormuz Island, just to take it, to be there, to then, get 500 ballistic missiles dropped on it. We're not sure yet. But in even better news, and this is real, and it came out of Israel Channel 12, their own news media, in response to this news about the United States preparing to launch a 2-month-long ground invasion. This is what Israel is telling their people. Israel will decline to join any ground operations Americans might launch in Iran. Yes, Israeli media reported Monday that the IDF will not aid any potential American ground operation inside Iran. Israeli troops are instead being sent to fight another war in Lebanon. Yes, confirmed by Israeli Channel 12. Quoted official sources stating, in case of a U.S. ground operation in Iran, Israel soldiers will not be participating. Just like the global war on terror, isn't it? And what do they keep telling you? What did they tell you about Joe Kent? Joe Kent's an evil conspiracy theorist because he said we're fighting this war for Israel. They're literally saying, America, go fight the war for us. We will not even be participating. They're not even going to participate. No interest. Thanks, America. Go do it for us. That's out of their media. Their media is saying it out loud. Just, nope, we're good. We're not going to. Right? Like, it's just, oh gosh. Let's watch some of this real quick.
Isn't Israel sending any ground troops to be on the ground in Iran?
Also, I love this guy's content, by the way.
But the Americans are. Why is the IDF not sending any troops, but the Americans are? Can somebody help me make that make sense?
Sure, that's easy. There's a country that blackmails our leaders, our presidents and people in Congress to get them to fight their wars. So we send our young Christian men over and fight young Muslim men over in the Middle East. And it's a win-win for this one country through extortion and blackmail. It's pretty simple.
Hey, why is it?
I mean, There it is. Yeah, it actually is quite simple. And some more Pete Hegseth guys. Donald Trump has now blamed Pete Hegseth for getting us into the war. This guy loves to throw his people under the bus, doesn't he? Watch Pete Hegseth's face.
And Pete, I think you were the first one to speak up, and you said, "Let's do it," because you can't let them have a nuclear weapon. So we are now having really good discussions. They started last night, a little bit.
You see how he's trying to talk about the discussions? So they started last night. Yeah, the discussion started last night. We're not sure what those discussions are. Here they are. If you didn't know, they actually finally did have video come out of the Oval Office, Donald Trump in actual negotiations with the current leadership of Iran. I was shocked myself. I thought Donald Trump was full of shit, but it turns out it's actually is true, and they've got photos of it right here. And here you go. There's a leaked photo of Trump negotiating with Iran right here. So there it is, guys. Like I told you, it's actually true. We didn't think it was true, but there it is. Donald Trump negotiating with the Ayatollah Trumpu as well. So at least we got that going. We know that things are going a little bit better. And then let's take a look at Pete Hegseth just straight up saying that we're gonna commit war crimes.
We also don't fight with stupid rules of engagement.
What?
We untie the hands of our warfighters to intimidate, demoralize, hunt, and kill the enemies of our country.
Did he just say we don't fight with rules of engagement? Oh, that's crazy war crime talk.
Those are the words of a potential war criminal.
Yeah.
Right there. And that is not the advice and counsel and direction that any Secretary of Defense should be providing our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines. It puts them actually in greater danger. The Secretary of Defense is a disgraced major that was kicked out of the DC National Guard. He has no qualifications whatsoever to be the Secretary of Defense other than his extreme loyalty to the president. Again, those are the words of a potential war criminal.
Yeah, no, we most certainly, it's for everybody. I want you all to know who didn't serve in the military and obviously didn't fight the wars. I promise you, America most certainly fights according to the rules of engagement and the laws of land warfare and the Geneva Convention. Trust me, we do. Maybe we have psychopaths in charge that don't want us to, but no, we do. Well, at least we used to back when, I was there. But again, the fact the Secretary of War's out saying some shit like that, bizarre. Now, right after the talks, the recent talks, and I believe this was yesterday, that Donald Trump said we were having the peace talks, Iran then just called the U.S. peace proposals unrealistic and then continued launching strikes on Israel. Literally yesterday. It's almost as if these talks aren't working. And here's another one where Donald Trump claims the Iranian negotiators are very different and strange. They are begging us to make a deal, which they should be doing since they've been militarily obliterated with zero chance of a comeback. And yet they publicly state that they're only looking at our proposal. Wrong. 3 exclamations. They better get serious soon before it's too late. And Iran comes out and says, fake news. Trump pretends that he's negotiating, that the Iranians are desperate, but the Iranians can't decide, thus justifying the expansion of the Epstein war. Iran will not negotiate. And when the Trump regime attacks, the global economy will swiftly pay the price. So I don't understand. Donald Trump keeps coming out saying that there are ceasefire and peace negotiations going on. Every time he comes out and says that, Iran gets on their Twitter, their X account, and calls him a pedophile. They call him the island man. They straight up call him a pedophile. They call him part of the Epstein gang. Every time Donald Trump, and again, you got to understand what a gigantic bitch this guy looks like on the world stage. He's trying to say, we got great talks going on, and every time he says that, they call him a pedo. Like, do we really think that there's effective talks going on when Iran is saying that? Probably not. But also, what a bitch he looks like on the world stage. Could you guys imagine doing that? Like, Imagine if you were in a spat with someone, right? And you were trying to explain to, your family or something like, no, it's all going well. We're figuring it out. We just had some bumps and things we had to work out along the way. And then they're like, nah, this dude's a piece of shit pedophile, bro. What, dude? I don't understand. Like, you'd think Donald Trump's ego would not allow him to do it, but he also is stuck and he's got no way out and he can't really do anything about it. And this is how ridiculous this shit has got at this point. If you guys didn't see this, you got to watch poor JD Vance, who, by the way, has lost a ton of weight ever since Clavicular said that he was a morbidly obese chud. JD Vance has been on that Ozempic, baby. He's been really hitting that GLP-1 hard. But let's listen to this.
I say options. I think it's important the American people know options for what? And it's options to ensure that Iran never has a nuclear weapon. You talk about people who walk into a crowded supermarket and have a vest on, and they blow up the vest and a couple of people get killed, and that's a terrible tragedy. What happens when what's on the vest is not something that can kill a couple of people, but can kill many, many tens of thousands of people? That is the most important American national security objective that exists.
Nuclear bomb suicide vests now. Iran has nuclear bomb suicide vests. Okay. Do you know how heavy uranium is? Uranium's so heavy, you can't even put it on a ballistic missile. You need plutonium for that. Really? Do we really think that's a thing? S-Vest nukes now? Okay, guys. Okay. Yeah, JD. Thanks, buddy. But I will tell you this. I do think this is just obviously what a joke this entire thing is. The idea that we are going to bomb the Iranian people into submission, right? That's what Donald Trump thinks. We can use conventional means, conventional warfare to just bomb them and they'll give up. Let's think about if that makes sense culturally in Shia Islam, which is very, very big on martyrdom, by the way. And who'd you martyr? Oh, I don't know. Maybe the Shia Pope, the Ayatollah. And then you did what? Killed almost 200 little elementary school girls right after that. We're talking about a culture that is willing to do what JD Vance just said. Strap an S-Vest to themselves, jump inside a vehicle-borne IED, drive it and blow up a gate, walk into a crowded market for the cause. You think that culture is going to be bombed into submission? They're willing to kill themselves for the cause, homie. But you think you're gonna what? You're gonna Hiroshima them and they're gonna give up? That's not how any of this works, man. Once you go take a look at Afghanistan, Taliban have nothing, sandals and AK-47s, and they fought off both Russia and the United States over 40 years. These people do not care about you bombing them. I mean, they do. They don't want to see their, loved ones get killed, but that's not going to make them give up. They're not going to surrender. Think about it for you personally. If another foreign country attacked the United States, bombed your city, killed all of your family, would you then be like, you know what? I think it's time for us to come to peace talks. No, you're going to hold that grudge for the rest of your life. And also, it's going to create more terrorists, by the way. We've already proven that. So the idea that we're going to bomb Iran into submission is it's the dumbest fucking thing ever to begin with. They're not going to surrender because we drop bombs on buildings. It didn't work in Iraq or Afghanistan or Syria or Libya or anywhere else. Vietnam. Probably not going to work here. Right? Probably not going to work here, ladies and gentlemen. Also, we're making Iran 10 times stronger than they were, by the way. If you didn't know this, Iran looks like they could rake in upwards of $80 billion a year just in transit fees if they continue to charge $2 million per oil tanker to give safe passage. $80 billion a year. If you guys don't know, the entire yearly annual defense budget for Iran is $10 billion. So they're going to 8x their entire military budget just off of this new system they have in place that we put in place. If you don't remember, the Strait of Hormuz was completely open. before the war started. We didn't go to war with Iran because they shut down the Strait of Hormuz. They shut down the Strait of Hormuz because we started bombing them. So now the strategic goals of this war are to reopen the Strait of Hormuz that was already open before the war. The shart of the deal, everybody. And again, I stole that one from somebody in the comments section, playing off the art of the deal. I love that one, the shart of the deal. But that's where we're at right now. That is the new strategic objectives for the Trump administration. Open the Strait of Hormuz. Great, man. It's almost like that thing was already open. No issues. But now, yeah, Iran is poised to make a lot of money. What's going on also because of this? Again, we talked about Asian countries. Philippines has declared a state of national emergency due to a severe shortage of oil. The Philippines imports 98% of its oil from the Gulf. Prices up over 100% since February. So, yeah, Philippines has become the first country in the world to declare a state of national emergency due to the war. Obviously, they're not even involved. They're not involved at all. And they're just absolutely effed, as well as Australia and Japan and Korea. And all our Asian allies are getting absolutely hosed by our moronic decisions. And there's other people entering the war. The Houthis in Yemen have now announced that they're also entering the war. And why is that a big problem? Well, the Houthis can control the other strait, the Strait of Mandab. Now, what is the problem with this? Well, if you don't know about the Strait of Mandab, here you go. It's also responsible for 10% of global oil trade. 10%. The Strait of Hormuz is about 20 to 25%. If both of those straits are shut down, we're now looking at 35% of the world's oil shut down. That is going to spike oil prices another $50 a barrel in a week. Gas prices are going to go up another $1 to $2 nationally, right? You're going to start we're going to see $10+ gas prices if this continues and they shut down the second strait. And agriculture. You guys got to remember, here's the other problem. People don't realize, like, petroleum is used for everything in society. Like, everything is made with or by petroleum, not just the gas that we use to, again, drive our cars or traffic our freight, everything. And then also diesel. Diesel is insane. Diesel is almost $7 a gallon. $7 a gallon. Fertilizer is another one. Majority of the world's fertilizer is coming out of the Gulf. What do you think that's going to do to agriculture? We're going to cause a massive food famine, excuse me, across the entire world. That's going to affect the United States as well. All for what? All for what? All for what? So we can blow up Iran's navy? That's the best they can tell you. We've completely destroyed their Navy and their Air Force. Oh, okay. What does that do for us? When was that ever something we were talking about before this war as some type of strategic objective? Like, it's bizarre. But again, who knows, guys? Who knows? All right. And then, this is India right now at the gas stations. This is insane. Woo! Would not want to be waiting for gas there. But yeah, India gets the vast majority of their oil right out of the Strait of Hormuz. They're right next door. And so we've completely shut down their oil trade as well. Now, India is now buying oil in Chinese yuan. So they're actually now bypassing the Strait of Hormuz because Iran's letting them traffic oil out because they've made the deal. They'll pay the $2 million fine per tanker, and they'll pay for it in Chinese yuan. Great. That's what we want. The second biggest country in the world, or the biggest country in the world now, population-wise, turning to the Chinese yuan for oil. Great. Yeah. Great. Just going to collapse the petrodollar in a hurry. Okay, next we're going to follow up straight into the economy and what's happening to it. All right, let's do a couple super chats here. Jumping straight back into the economy. We'll do about 5 or 6 here, maybe 10. Okay. Benny Boy came out with damage control saying the language in the report was inconclusive. Yes, we know. Yes, it's inconclusive. They cannot match the fucking round to the rifle. That's what inconclusive means. And shut up, there's to be a trial. Elmo, Patsy exists in the Websters. Yeah, like you're going to see them try to use language like this. Well, it's inconclusive. Yeah, no shit. That means it can't be used as fucking evidence, Benny. But again, why would you listen to anything Benny Johnson said? I mean, other than like if you wanted advice on where to pick up the hottest 21-year-old boys, then you're going to want to go talk to Benny Johnson. But as for like anything court-wise, ballistics-wise, yeah, I think you can find better information than Benny Grinder Johnson, guys. Okay, let's let's chill out with Benny on that one. Nobody takes that dude seriously. Okay, so glad to be a member. Best channel on YouTube. Well, thank you, Brittany. I appreciate you. It's Brittany, another Brittany. Is there a Rumble link tonight? Nothing showed up. No, just on YouTube tonight, guys. Just on YouTube tonight. We'll be back probably on Rumble on Friday. Love from Texas. Well, thank you, JG. Appreciate you, brother. Gabby, thank you. Thank you for those 10 Valhalla VFT memberships. All right, two, 3 more, and then we'll jump back into it. Aaron says, thank you, brother, for a non-Trump simping Fox News BS account of America First Politics. Thank you. Yes, appreciate you being here, brother. Chill, everyone. It's only 9,789 coincidences. Yeah, that's what we're up to. All right, last one. Would you ever be down to do a series where you talk about special forces operations people might be interested in? For example, the Tongo ambush. No, I used to do I used to do tons of content like that on my channel. If you go back to it, that is one that I'll never touch. Just out of respect to the Green Berets that we lost in that ambush, right? If you haven't seen the footage, I mean, there's like straight GoPro footage from that. So no, that's not one I'll ever talk about or cover, just out of respect for those guys. Okay, let's jump back into it. All right, economy. So if you didn't see this, Donald Trump just broke a record. He did. He broke a record. And if you didn't know, the record that he broke is on the specific issue of the economy. He has now achieved the lowest approval rating in United States presidential history on the issue of the economy. Well done, buddy. The economy president. The lowest ever. I believe it's down near 22%. 22%. Let's take a look. I've got the numbers here. 29%. Trump hits a record low approval rating on the economy coming out of Reuters, showing just a 29% approval, the worst approval rate in U.S. presidential history, baby. Winning, baby. That's what winning on the economy looks like. That's worse than George Bush during the financial crisis. That's worse than Bill Clinton during the dot-com crash. So just to let you know how bad that is, how bad the people think it is. Yeah. And sorry, Republicans don't win elections when the economy is shitty. They don't. Because they run on, we're going to make the economy better. Now, it's starting to look like Republicans don't actually ever make the economy any better, but they run on, we're going to make the economy better. And then when they don't make the economy better, they get schwacked. And that's obviously what we're going to see on this one. And on top of that, some other breaking records. Donald Trump, the national debt has almost doubled since Donald Trump vowed to erase it in 2016. Isn't that amazing? Yes, doubled. In January of 2017, it was 19.9 trillion. Today, 39 trillion. And Donald Trump is responsible for over 25% of the entire U.S. national debt just during his presidency. His 5 years, by the way. Not even 8 years like Obama, or 8 years like Bush, or 8 years like Clinton. In just 5 years, he's responsible for 25+% of the entire national debt, and it's almost doubled since he promised to balance the budget. Wow. Not great. Oh, and here's another one. If you didn't hear this story on top of exactly that, the United States government is now insolvent. Yes, we are bankrupt. The United States of America is officially bankrupt. The Treasury Department declared it. So, not sure how that's going to help us. But the good thing is some people are making money in this economy. Let's take a look at this. This This was the massive trading that was done right after Donald Trump did that whole 48 hours, we're going to bomb your power plants. And then he chickened out and came out and said right before markets opened that, in fact, actually, we got a 5-day pause. This was also going on in the markets during that.
Look at this. 15 minutes before that Donald Trump post, there was a very big amount of trading volume.
15 minutes.
Very big. In fact, actually, when you're looking at that amount of volume, that spike, that was the biggest trading volume that we saw that day. We're starting here just at 8 o'clock in the morning. We're going through to that moment of the Donald Trump post. Relatively quiet volumes, not much going on in the market. And then all of a sudden that. And if you're wondering, okay, maybe this was just a one-off, it was someone who made a lucky bet. Have a look not just at this. So this is WTI, it's one measure, the US measure of oil. Have a look at Brent, which is the kind of the European, seen as the international measure of oil. Again, the same thing. Donald Trump makes this post, flurry of activity, lots of people there. But look at that. Again, 15 minutes before that Donald Trump post, a very big trade.
$600 million trade on oil 15 minutes before Donald Trump made the announcement that completely reversed the oil market. They don't give a shit. They're doing it right in front of it's. Barron Trump is literally doing this, trading oil futures. Literally, he's trading oil futures. He made like $30 million trading oil futures 2 hours before Trump did this before. They just don't care. It's just broad daylight. Broad daylight. Now, Donald Trump, we all know he hates Jerome Powell because Jerome Powell refuses to lower interest rates, which Donald Trump wants to have happen because he thinks it's going to improve the economy. And so Trump came out and said this.
We have a moron at the Fed. Who wouldn't be lowering interest rates right now?
Literally everyone, because inflation is spiking out of control because of your dumb fucking war, and you don't lower interest rates into high inflation, Donald Trump.
But I want to thank Janine Pirro and Pam and her group for having the courage to bring this suit.
So they're going to try to sue Jerome Powell for not reducing interest rates, which he absolutely should not do in rising inflation environment. But let's listen to this moron, by the way.
Clear is that our debt is growing much faster. The federal government debt is growing substantially faster than our economy. And that ratio is going up. And, you know, in the long run, that's kind of the definition of unsustainable. The level of the debt is not unsustainable, but the path is not sustainable. And so it's really important that we get back to, we don't have to pay the debt down. We just need to have, you know, primary balance and begin to have the economy actually growing better, growing more quickly than the economy. It will not end well if we don't do something fairly soon. This is not the Fed's job, of course, and I pretty much limit myself to those high-level points which essentially everyone ignores.
So, is that an idiot? Because what was his take? The national debt is at a path that's unsustainable. We need to grow the economy at a rate faster than the national debt. Otherwise, we're on an unsustainable path that's going to destroy the economy. Yeah, no, duh. Yes, correct. That is exactly, that's basics, very, very basics in economics. And what Donald Trump wants to do is the opposite of that. He wants to lower interest rates and explode spending and explode money printing and massively increase the national debt, which is very bizarre, right? What does the word conservatism mean? It means doing the opposite of that. It means not having ridiculous, frivolous spending and a fucking $40 trillion national deficit, right? Limit spending. That's what conservatism means. That's what a fiscal conservative believes. And that's why I tell people, MAGA, you are not conservatives. You hear me say that all the time. MAGA is not conservatives. Donald Trump is not a conservative by definition. Okay? No conservative would ever support that insanity. Well, actual conservatives. All right. Also, what's going on in the job market? We know there's been effectively no new job creation this entire year, but now we're going the wrong way. So we just had a couple weeks ago, Republicans eliminated 14,000 VA jobs. So, and that is on the back of 90% of VA hospitals reporting severe shortages of doctors last year. With mental health, PTSD, and rural care have seen huge cuts or have been completely eliminated. So, yes, thank you to all the veterans who need health care from the VA, especially in mental health and PTSD. The Trump administration and MAGA are cutting those programs and firing those doctors. Because that's what being pro-military looks like. And isn't that funny? They're starting another war, getting ready to send a bunch more young men and women to go get killed and maimed, to come back for what? While you cut the fucking VA at the exact same time. Pretty obvious they do not give a fuck about any of us, especially veterans. Even though they're, they don't care. They'll send you to go die in a foreign war like they could care less on that. Okay, let's jump in strictly to old Trumpy boy. What's he been going on? I know obviously we've had some other stuff talking about, but just specifically his wazoo shit. Now, of course, we got to take a look back and just see. Let's just a little memory lane, right? We love a trip down memory lane.
We're
here.
not going to go to war with me as your president. I will tell you, you're not going to have a war with me. We just keep bombing our little hearts out. They said, you start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars. Over the past 3 weeks, we've been hitting Iran's military capabilities at a level that few people have ever seen before. We will expel the warmongers from our government.
We negotiate with bombs.
Keep America out of endless and costly foreign wars. Whatever the time is, it's okay. Whatever it takes. And we projected 4 to 5 weeks. But we have capability to go far longer than that. Remember, I'm the president of peace. We're not going to go to war with.
Okay. What happened? Like MAGA. Is that what you voted for? Which one did you vote for? Did you vote for the bottom one or the top one? Do you even know at this point? Or is it just, well, we support whatever. We don't really care that he lied to our faces about literally everything. We don't care. We just support it just because. And it's just, okay. Okay. Now, we showed this one, I think we showed this one on Friday. And that was that Donald Trump says Iran wanted to make him the supreme leader of Iran. Yes, Iran wants Donald Trump to be the Ayatollah.
We're doing in the Middle East with Iran. And they are negotiating, by the way, and they want to make a deal so badly, but they're afraid to say it because they figure they'll be killed by their own people. They're also afraid they'll be killed by us. There's never been a head of a country that wanted that job less than being the head of Iran. I don't want it. We listen to some of the things they say. We hear them very clearly. They say, I don't want it. We'd like to make you the next supreme leader. No, thank you. I don't want it.
Okay. He's literally on stage claiming that Iran is asking him to be the Ayatollah of Iran. So that's where we're at with this guy. If you don't believe this guy's got dementia at this point, well, let's take a look. Frontal lobe dementia, by the way. He also came out and said this about Saudi Arabia, one of our closest allies in the Gulf. Says he didn't think he'd be talking about Crown Prince. He didn't think he'd be kissing my ass. And now he has to be nice to me. Yeah, the Muslim world does not like being spoken to this way. So I'm sure this is going to go over fantastic. Begging them for help, by the way.
This was going to happen. He didn't think he'd be kissing my ass. He really didn't. He thought he'd be just another American president that was a loser, where the country was going downhill. But now he has to be nice to me.
Diplomacy, everyone. That's how you get your allies to help you, is to say shit like that to them. Yeah, I'm sure Saudi Arabia is going to take that well. as again, we are begging them to help us. What else is going on? Now, I thought we wanted to put Mark Zuckerberg behind bars. Isn't that what Trump said before the election? Well, now, as you can see, Trump just announced he's appointing Mark Zuckerberg, the same guy who censored, banned, and shut down Facebook accounts if we dared speak out fraud, to his Science and Technology Advisory Board. Oh, look at the difference here. Again, you got 2024 Trump. Trump says Mark Zuckerberg could spend the rest of his life in prison. 2026 Trump says Zuckerberg, Huang, Ellison for Tech Advisory Council. Oh my God. Is this what you voted for? This is what you voted for, mega. All right, Venezuela. I told you all. I told everybody. Okay, Venezuela. We captured Maduro. Literally nothing will change as everybody declared this amazing strategic victory. What's going on in Venezuela, guys? Oh, Venezuela's chief torturer has taken over the military. Longtime spy chief promoted to defense minister as interim president Delcy Rodriguez consolidates power. So yes, going absolutely fantastic for the Venezuelan people who we were liberating. Remember, we liberated the Venezuelan people. Yes, well, their chief torturer is now in charge of the military. Just like I fucking told you guys. Nothing changes. And in fact, it's gotten worse. Wow. Shocker. I know this is blowing all your guys' minds, finding all this stuff out. Okay, here's another one. Just because the guy's the biggest fucking hypocrite in the world. Remember how Donald Trump claimed that mail-in voting fraud is the reason why he lost the 2020 election? He's been savagely against mail-in voting forever. It's all fraud. Well, guess what? Guess how he voted in the recent local elections?
Yeah, you may not use the mail-in ballot. You probably say, yeah, I did. You know what? Because I'm president of the United States, and because of the fact that I'm president of the United States, I did a mail-in ballot for elections that took place in Florida because I felt I should be here instead of being in the beautiful sunshine taking.
Because nobody else has to work a job. Just the president. Yeah. So the president, he uses mail-in voting, and he says the only reason he did it is because, of course, he's the president. But wait a second. Oh, nope. It turns out his whole family has been using mail-in voting. Yes, Melania and Barron also voted by mail. Huh. The entire Trump family voting by mail while they try to shut down mail-in voting for fraud. Can't make this up. Can't make this up. All right, couple super chats, and then we're going to jump into some good memes and responses from people in the America First space, and then we'll jump into all the garbage that MAGA has coming out and some insanity from the Democrats as well. Hold on a second. Oh, I got a little bit mixed up on a few of these. That's okay. We're going to hit a couple super chats, and then we're going to jump into a hilarious Dan Bongino skit, by the way. That'll be the next thing we show. This guy's song he made about Dan Bongino is epic. So we're going to watch that. Watch that as soon as we get back. All right, so just about 10 super chats. We'll jump right back into it. What's a must-have survival firearm? I have an M1A SOCOM, but ammo is expensive. P365 so far, but in a compliant state, I can't get a good 5.56. A good survival firearm? I don't know what you mean by survival, like a survival scenario, like out in the wilderness surviving. I mean, a 30-06 is a great one to have because you can take down big game, but even like an AR-15 platform is still pretty good for something like that. If you mean in your like self-defense scenario, AR-15 is still good, and you already have a P365, so you're already pretty good with what you got, I think. I think it's a professional hit, either a 9mm or 45 ACP suppressed camera gun from the crowd or subsonic 300 black from a grassy knoll. Wouldn't almost any common supersonic rifle round blow right through. Yeah. But again, like we talked to fellow Green Beret Chuck Britter, had him on the show. He got shot with a AK-47 round, 7.62 round in the spine, and it tracked down his spine 30 feet and lodged in his ass and created no exit wound. So it's possible right? The smaller calibers like 300 Blackout, 223, 556, 762, much more possible for no exit wound. But and to see the actual injury in the different ballistics, that would make some sense. It'd still be extremely unlikely. Don't get me wrong. Even a 556 round from 140 meters in a human neck is like 99 out of 100 times going straight through. But it makes it far more possible than the 30-06. 2-2, Nate. The first video you did right after Charlie was shot. Yeah. Tagged you in an inspired Bollywood dance tweet. Oh, that's funny. Twinkle Toes in a 4-2-2, Grinder, Graham at Disney. Yeah, we're going to talk about that, of course. Same handle parody. Thank you. Nate was shooting plates day one. Thank you, brother. Sup, Nate? The only good thing voting for Don King is the exposure to our greatest ally going mainstream. Fair point. Fair point on that one. Thank you, brother. All right, a couple more. What's your favorite lawnmower brand? Deck height? My favorite lawnmower brand? I don't know. John Deere, I guess. Tractor, whatever. I have a riding lawnmower now for the new property, but I think it's a regular John Deere riding lawnmower. If the judge does not dismiss, then it's a sham. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. All right, two more, and then we're going back into it. Mark says, Nate, you're on fire as usual, brother. God bless you and your family. Thank you, brother. And nah, you weren't talking about this 24-hour. It was more like 33 hours after. Yep. Okay. Now let's hit this off with our first. Again, always got to get a little bit of comedy here before we jump into it. So this is one of my favorite Dan Bongino songs on the internet right now.
Who's the man that quit his podcast to serve his country? Dan Bongino. Who's the man that quit that job in 292 days? Dan Bongino. Who's the man that went on Fox News and complained he missed his wife because he had to go into an office? Dan Bongino.
I stare at these four walls all day and I gave up.
Who took one look into the Epstein files and said, nothing to see here, folks? Dan Bongino. Who was forced into retirement after 2 civilian deaths in Minneapolis? Greg Bovino. I used to want to be at the RNC. I used to want to be like Dan Bongino. But these days I only want to be like the great one, Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito. We call out from the darkness for light. Danny DeVito. Come wrap us in your arms, spread out your wings and take flight. I wanna be like Danny DeVito. I wanna be the cast of Taxi. I wanna scream for Jumanji 3. I wanna be like Danny DeVito. I wanna be like Danny D. I wanna be like Danny DeVito. I wanna be like Danny D. I wanna be like Danny DeVito.
Oh, what a legend, dude. What a legend. Oh, isn't that song good? I told you that song was good, man. Just trashing. I love Danny DeVito, by the way. Danny DeVito is one of my favorite actors. I love It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's one of my favorite shows. So a combination of shitting on Dan Bongino with that, oof, that's good stuff right there. That's good stuff. Okay, anyway. A little bit funny stuff. Here's another funny meme I saw from Jake Shields. As you can see, there's little Benny boy being offered a helmet to go fight the war himself. As you can see, yeah, Ben's not interested in going down that rabbit hole. Actually, really like this take. I've seen this. I don't want to call her a girl because she's obviously an adult, but I think she's Gen Z. She's a little bit younger. She explains how Zoomers got so based. Gen Z. How did Gen Z get so based? And I think a lot of us are going to actually resonate with this, but this is a really great take and explanation.
People are getting red pilled right now, so I am going to break down the Zoomer red pill pipeline, or at least this is how it happened to me. So in high school, you're conservative, you support Trump, you go to church, and you support Israel. Why? Because you've learned about the Holocaust in high school. You were taught in church that those who bless Israel will be blessed. So you're just It's always hammered into your brain. You have to support Israel. You have to support them because they're basically like white people that live in the Middle East and are constantly getting attacked by Muslims. And naturally, you don't like Muslims because you've been told that Muslims did 9/11. Also, the shows and the information out there, there's not a lot out there. The only shows that you listen to are The Blaze, PragerU. Some people even listen to Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro. That was most people's red pilling moment. Well, then October 7th happens. You're horrified naturally because of all the propaganda coming out about babies in ovens, beheaded babies. Well, then a little time goes by and you realize, oh, they were lying about that. And now they're committing a genocide. So then you start to kind of rethink your whole worldview. You're like, okay, so why did I just support these people not even knowing anything about them? You probably grew up like I did in a town where I grew up in Alabama and Georgia, where there was like one black family, there were no Jewish people. So it doesn't really cross your mind, but yet you supported these people just because that's what you had always thought was the conservative thing to do. Well, October 7th happens, obviously, and that wakes people up. That wakes people up to the hypocrisy and to the lies. So then you start doing your own research. You look into this historical event and that historical event, and you learn about things that you didn't even know about. You learn about who is actually behind communism. You learn about who is actually behind the anti-white agenda, who's actually behind feminism and the pornography industry and the banking system and all these wars. And you're like, wow, I've been lied to. And then the final nail in the coffin was Donald Trump bringing us to war with Iran. And it could not be more glaringly obvious. So that is how people are red-pilled. That's how I woke up. People like to bring up old tweets of mine from like 2018 and earlier from when I was literally in high school, as if that's proof that I'm Jewish. I'm not Jewish, by the way. I did support Israel in high school because that's what I had been programmed to do.
So did I. Just like the vast majority of us, we all sort of had that exact same track happen to us in some form or fashion, a little bit different for everybody, but the vast majority of us, that's exactly what happened. Just as she talked about it in linear fashion, those were the events that made us all what's called start to notice, the great noticing. Right. So, and I think that was a great explanation, especially for Gen Z. Okay, now who's pivoting? I'm a little bit, guys, before we talk about this, I'm a little bit upset that both Joe Rogan and Candace Owens are stealing this from me. We all know Nate was calling MAGA theater kid dorks way before everybody, way before it was cool. And so, yeah. You know, it's one thing. I'm okay now that it's catching on and people are saying it. But Joe Rogan now is saying that MAGA is full of fucking dorks, right? Again, Nate is the one that pioneered this.
Phrase, make America great again. I don't care. Then
But
fine.
if that phrase sucks, here's the thing. Like, first of all, America is great. Make America greater, I'm down. But make America great again, and then it becomes a movement of a bunch of fucking dorks, because a lot of them are dorks. A lot of them, these really weird, fucking uninteresting, unintelligent people that have got something they cling to. And there's a lot of people that are just real, genuine patriots. And they're all lumped into this one group, and you got to accept the dorks too. Fuck that.
Yeah. Who's been saying that for what, almost a year now? Theater kid dorks. That's Nate's term. Now, I will say, just calling them dorks. I didn't make up the word dork, okay? But if you hear anybody start calling them theater kid dorks, Nate coined that one for MAGA. All right. But I mean, it's good that people are waking up, right? The world's waking up to the bullshit with MAGA, even people like Joe Rogan who supported Donald Trump. And here is Jesse Ventura getting super based on Piers Morgan's show.
Well, here's how I feel about it. There's a simple thing as a leader, and you know this having been in the military. Trump wouldn't know it because he's a draft-dodging coward. But anyway, it's this. A war is justified if you're willing to send your kids. Because how can you send somebody else's kids to a war if you won't send your own? So I'm calling right now for Barron Trump Donald Trump's son, after all, he's had 3 wives. He's had kids by each wife, and nobody's ever served in the military. To my knowledge, a Trump in the last 100 years has never done military service. Well, Barron, you can change that. Enlist in the United States military right now. Do something your father didn't have the courage to do. Do something your father didn't have the patriotism to do. I want to see a Trump in the military. Everybody in my family has served, so I think I can say that with all due confidence. Come on, Trumps. Don't just reap the benefits of this free world. Somebody put on the uniform, and that's you, Barron. And I heard the excuse that Barron might be too tall. David Robinson served on active duty.
True.
He was 7 feet tall before he ever went to the San Antonio Spurs basketball team.
True.
David Robinson went to the United States Navy Military Academy. He's one of my officers, not directly, but he would have been.
Yep, that's true. And again, like I said, Barron Trump's only 6'8". You can join the military at 6'8". That's not an excuse. I'm sure he's got bone spurs. I'm sure he's got bone spurs, but I think that's 100% true. I'm at that point now. If you're a politician, if you're the president, you want to start and send our sons and daughters to go fight and die in a forever war or any war. One of your kids goes to the front lines, mind you, not to go be an intel analyst or something like that. No, they go to the infantry or the Marine Corps, and you go to the front lines and you fight the wars. Otherwise, you got no business voting to send somebody else's kids to go die in a foreign war. Here's another one. Interesting. Now, again, sorry, boomers. All right. You're going to get drugged a little bit, but it's kind of an important
Boomers, let me just rebuke you all. You are retiring and moving away from your children and abandoning them and not being generous toward them and not helping them. And when you die, you're not even including them in your estate. You despise your God and your children. You're an entirely greedy generation that loves money and power. How shameful is it that children are out giving parents? Let me say, when you get to be my age, you're making usually more than your 20-something kid who's just getting started, and they're out giving you. It's just disgusting. You boomers, let me just rebuke you all.
Yeah, the younger generations are actually far more active in charity work, both donating their money and their time than the boomer generation is, just statistically, which is not great considering how much fucking more money they have than every other generation. And again, look, we're not trying to beat up on the boomers too much, but realistically, everything in modern society is your fault. The economy is your fault. You know why? Because you're the generation that's in charge of everything. The president's 80 years old. The people running the banks are 70 years old. So the politicians in Washington, D.C. are all geriatrics and nursing homes, basically. It's like a giant nursing home facility in Congress. So sorry, you're the ones making all the decisions and you have all the power and money. All the blame of whether things are really good or really bad falls in your lap. So, because guess what? It ain't Gen Z. Gen Z ain't got no money or power, so you can't blame shit on them. Same as millennials. Sorry, we haven't entered into that space where we have any systematic power at all. Onesies or twosies here in Congress, but it's all boomers, and then a little bit of Gen X finding their way into that now. And again, sorry guys, not trying to beat up on the boomers too much, but we need to probably stop having 80-year-olds running the country. I think that's probably just something that needs to happen. Okay, here's some crazy shit at a Republican Congressman Mike Lawler's town hall. His own people not happy.
Fuck you! This is what I serve my fucking country for! Freedom of speech, you piece of shit!
Feel free to leave. I'm a constituent. It's your question. If you're going to act like that...
It's the whole crowd booing him.
You've interrupted repeatedly. Hey, we're just going to wait until you're done. Answer the question.
Freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Freedom of speech. Let him stay. Let him stay. Let him stay. Let him stay.
So that is a town hall for Republicans with a Republican congressional candidate. It's not looking good. It's not looking good across the board for MAGA. Okay. Now we're going to jump into, again, we did the some of the good takes. Now we, of course, got into all of the piece of shits in the Trump administration. But first, I want to show you this meme because I love this meme as an independent. This pretty much sums up American politics in general. You got the Democrat Party. This one will steal your money, rack up trillions in debt, print money, wage war, spy on you, bail out corporations, have you thrown in prison if you disobey other campaigns. And then Republicans, the exact same, but will pretend to be against it. Yep, there it is. There's the two-party system in a nutshell right there. Bingo. Right there. That's exactly what it's like. Just the uniparty. They're exactly the same at the end of the day. Now, this was supposed to be a good take, an interesting one. I don't know if you guys have noticed. I don't know what's happening with Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh has been against the war in Iran. He's been very vocal about it. And then he came out and said, MAGA pundit admits Trump supporters are empty vessels that adopt whatever position Trump takes. Matt said Trump fans are intellectually empty vessels ready to adopt whatever position Trump just took and then abandon it as soon as he does. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 Matt. Is Ben's allowing you to post stuff like that? Whoa, dude. You can't say that. Pretty sure there's going to be a little bit of this, a little bit of get back to work, Matt Walsh. You know what I mean? There's going to be a little of that at the Daily Wire. Matt's flying awfully close to the sun, saying things that he's not allowed to say. It'll be interesting to see with the fact that the Daily Wire is completely dead. Ben Shapiro's YouTube channel is completely dead. I got to imagine he maybe is still under contract, but I got to imagine Matt's got to get out of there soon. I mean, he's the only one with any semblance of talent whatsoever. But again, he's been a massive shill for this the whole time. He's going to be kind of in a Bongino spot, right? If he leaves the Daily Wire, he's got to do it in the right way. He could do it in the right way, which is exactly what he's doing right there. If he starts calling out MAGA and calling out Trump, all right, buddy, like we'll bring you over here. But I don't know if he's got the balls to go all the way. But at least he's showing some criticism. It's a lot more than the rest of them are doing, you know? So it's a start at least. And I'm not somebody that, you guys know I'm not somebody that if they wake up and they change their mind that I am like, no, you're not welcome over here because of it. No, we welcome everybody that's woken up to Trump's bullshit and MAGA's bullshit. But again, it could be, somebody said shape-shifting, could be shape-shifting. It could be seeing the writing on the wall and going, ooh, if I want to save the future of my channel and, you know, my brand, I need to get the fuck out of this thing quick. That 100% could be what we're looking at as well, right? It might not be an integrity thing. But hey, we can use all the big names and big voices to call this bullshit out that we can get. Okay. That's the way I look at it. We need allies. The America First needs allies that actually believe the things that we believe. So, you know, all right. Let's talk about how things are going for Republicans in Congress. They are retiring and leaving office at the fastest rate in a long, long time. Let's take a look at that.
I would say that House Republicans are running for the exits faster than kids do on the final day of school. I mean, just take a look here. Oh, hello. Most House retirements since 1930. So far this cycle, already 36. That is the grand record over the last nearly 100 years. My goodness gracious. That actually beats the former record in total, which was 34 back in the 2018 cycle. And that wasn't that long ago. And I do recall that was a very, very good year for House Democrats. The bottom line is this. You don't run for the exits unless you know trouble is brewing. Yep. And House Republicans so far believe trouble is absolutely brewing. Okay.
So what that shows is you have a huge amount of congressional Republicans who realize they're most likely going to lose their elections. They're probably in either swing states, battleground states that, I mean, even Florida and Texas are blue right now based off voting metric numbers. In the Texas primaries, Democrats outvoted Republicans by 180,000 votes in the primaries. So it shows that Democrats are far more likely right now to want to get out and vote compared to Republicans. So a lot of these Republican congressmen are like, hey, I don't want to lose, right? I would rather retire, and that way later I can maybe run for Senate, I can run for a governor seat, but if you lose in politics, typically you're done, right? Once you lose and you lose a congressional seat, you're done with politics. So a lot of them see the writing on the wall and I go, I don't even want to go through the election. I just want to retire. That way I can keep my political future potentially open because I retired, or, I left my seat willingly to go do something else for a little while rather than losing an election. So not surprising to see that at all. Let's keep moving here. All right, what else do Republicans have going on? Here we go. So completely controlled Congress, and that has resulted in the longest government shutdown in history. Only 5% of the bills have passed the House chamber. They passed almost nothing other than the big, beautiful bill. Lowest rate of housing bills to come in law in the last 50 years. Oh, well done. With complete government control, by the way, in both the House and Senate and executive branch and Supreme Court. Most Republican members to resign or retire. We just talked about that one. Kicked the most Americans off healthcare in history. Well done. And added $5 trillion to the national deficit in a single bill. Yes. Things are going well for the Republicans in Congress, including this little demon. Yes, Lindsey Graham, who was just caught at Disneyland during, when he should probably be back in Washington, figuring out the shutdown or the war, although we don't really need him there. But here's this creepy little bastard caught by TMZ. Now, what is so creepy about this? Lindsey Graham is 70 years old. He has no children, and he was at Disneyland by himself. Why is a 70-year-old, obviously gay man walking around Disneyland by himself? Doesn't that seem a little creepy and bizarre to you guys? Not something I think is it's just weird. It's gross. It's bizarre. He was walking around with a pink bubble wand at one point, like the bubble makers, just by himself in Disneyland. 70-year-old Lady G. Yeah, somebody just said with a princess wand. Again, while he could have been back in Washington, there's a lot of shit to figure out right now. But again, I don't know. I'd almost rather have him not there, I guess. All right, let's look at some Trump administration stuff. Here's Stephen Miller. Little competition between him and Kash Patel on who can simp harder for Daddy Trump.
That President Trump is doing, not only in Memphis, not only in Washington, D.C., but all over the country, ultimately, it will save and is saving tens of thousands of American lives. It is, I'll use that word again, what President Trump has done on border security and public safety is a national miracle that will be studied not only for generations, but for centuries to come. Thank you, President Trump.
Thank you, Steve. So, Cash, see if you can top that. I don't.
Oh boy. You guys know that Trump just reverted back to Biden's deportation policies. They tried to do it secretly so nobody saw, because the backlash from ICE has been so bad politically that Donald Trump has now announced that deportations are done. Hey, MAGA, remember that thing that you wanted, mass deportations? Yeah, Trump said they're done. He literally went back to Biden's deportation policy, which is the only way they will deport you is if you are actually arrested, apprehended, and have a violent criminal record on top of that. So if you have if you're a cartel member and you've got a violent criminal record and you're off doing your own thing, they're not going to go after you. You're good. Just don't get arrested. So is that what you wanted, MAGA? Now you get no deportations. By the way, we only deported like 230,000 people after 20 million entered our country. So that's done. Regardless of whether you feel about that, I know a lot of people don't like the idea of, the deportations in general. I want every violent criminal illegal immigrant deported out of this country immediately. I want every cartel member deported out of this country immediately. I thought we all wanted that. That's a pretty bipartisan thing we can all agree upon. We're not even doing that anymore. What do you mean 20 million? Question mark. This is the numbers. This is a low estimate. Very, very low estimate under Biden, by the way. Sorry if you don't like that and it hurts your feelings, but that's the truth. Now, you can have your own opinions on whether you think that's a good thing, that's a bad thing. You want deportations, you don't want deportations. That's the truth. Those are the numbers. And Donald Trump has deported basically nobody. And the people he has deported, the vast majority of them aren't even criminals. They're just grandmas working at taco trucks. So, yeah, they got to figure that one out too. So no mass deportations either, MAGA. And I know you wanted that. Interesting. But if you were to watch news sources like Newsmax or Fox News, you're going to get a little bit of different take about how things are going. This was at CPAC this year.
Then I'm also reading stuff in the media. They're telling us there's this big movement within the conservative movement that is anti-Israel now. I just hear it from the media, but we asked you guys about it. We wanted to know what you guys thought about it. I'm sorry, we did the Ayatollah first. They put this in a different order for me. You're supposed to be against the Iran war. Well, 89% approve of our military action there.
90% of people support the war, according to CPAC and Newsmax. Yeah. 90% of Americans support the war in Iran. That's what they're putting out at CPAC. By the way, they couldn't even fill the seats at CPAC this year. If you saw the auditoriums, most of those were completely empty. So CPAC's just dead. It's just a dead organization to begin with. But yeah, anybody trying to claim 90% of Americans, guys, this is the most politically unpopular war in U.S. history. It's closer to about 28% support, and that's dropping rapidly because of how poorly it's going. Yeah. 90%, that ain't it. And about that CPAC. Oh, and here's another thing, right? Here's another problem, as we were just talking about. Here's ICE, everybody. We have they're at the airports. ICE is at the airports, and our friends over at OAF Nation says, imagine getting slimed by one of these two kids because you accidentally forgot to take your belt off. These are children. ICE is hiring literal children to work for them. So this shows you just about how much experience you need on your resume to go work for ICE, to potentially be out there shooting Americans in the face in the streets. So yeah, that's a rough one. Okay, Todd Blanche just said recently that the Trump's attorney, Todd Blanche, admits that he admitted on live TV that the entire Trump cabinet is terrified of being indicted if Democrats win in 2028. He said that at CPAC. Yeah, you should, because Democrats, unlike Republicans, don't fuck around with getting vengeance, by the way. Now, whether you like that or not, Democrats will go after you and put your ass in fucking prison. And I can guarantee you, if Democrats take complete control of the government, the entire Trump administration is getting hauled in, under subpoenaed, and actually put in prison. Pete Hegseth for war crimes, right? You just go down the line, right? Pam Bondi for lying under oath, Kash Patel for lying under oath, Dan Bongino for lying under oath. They're going to go after everybody. Yeah, I mean, and why would they not, right? They'll go after Trump's corruption, Trump's family's corruption, Barron's insider trading, right? The other two Trump sons who have gotten billion-dollar contracts through the U.S. military for drone companies and shit like that. They don't say what you want about Democrats, but they don't mess around when it comes to getting vengeance, political vengeance. Look what they did to Trump. They gave him 37 felonies and arrested the former president. They don't fucking care. So yeah, I would be Jared Kushner as well, Steve Witkoff as well, Kristi Noem will be investigated for all that fraud that she was doing at DHS. They'll come for your ass. Say what you want about Democrats. There's a lot I don't agree with Democrats on. But yeah, not good. Not good. All right. Speaking of which, somebody else that we were just talking about. Let's see what Pam Bondi, she's always got a great take, right, guys? See what she had to say about being a citizen.
Marriage to get in this country. You can't do that. Being a citizen in our country is a privilege. It's not a right. And Donald Trump is going to have everyone in this country who deserves to be here who's a citizen. And yeah, sure, it could be faster, it could be easier, but I think we're moving at lightning speed given what we're up against.
I'm thinking about the Old
Brian.
Dominion shoot.
Being a citizen in our country is a privilege, not a right. Who provides you that privilege? The U.S. government provides you that privilege? No. That's not how it is. You're born in America. You are a citizen, and you don't. The government then doesn't get to decide if they want to denaturalize me just because they don't agree with my political opinions or my feelings about a certain foreign country. No, that's not a privilege. Sorry. But that's Pam Bondi, right? I mean, that's the psychotic stuff that she's saying. It's also not going after anybody in the Epstein files. You got more of the Trump administration. JD Vance, yes, a week ago, hosted a fundraiser with Palantir co-founder Joe Longsdale at their Austin home. Tickets sold for $50,000 per person and $100,000 per couple. There it is. Here's JD Vance's fundraiser, $250,000 per couple for the host committee and dinner, $100,000. Now, what do you guys think gets you? What do you get from spending $100,000 to have dinner with JD Vance and Palantir? What do you get from that? I don't know. I don't know how the system works behind the scenes, but I can't imagine people are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for a dinner if there isn't some, quid pro quo that goes along with that. I'm sure there's a lot of backroom talks about what JD Vance will promise to do when elected. All right, some more of Trump's administration saying psychotic shit. Yes, this little demon. She has what'd she say? She said, if you heard it from the president, obviously it's true. Yes.
If you've heard it from the president of the United States, obviously it's true, as well as if
one of the biggest pathological liars on the planet, and that's the litmus test. Whatever Trump says, that's true. Fact. Wow, that is some obscene authoritarian level fucking North Korea shit right there. That's almost as bad as the 100% approval rating. What's going on? What else is going on with MAGA? Ooh, Kid Rock not doing well. It looks like here's the actual story to it, but over here if you want to go look. But yeah, Kid Rock concerts face cancellation as he's failing to sell over 200 tickets in a venue. Yes. Nobody's interested in watching Kid Rock, it turns out. Here's another interesting one. Nikki Haley, as she bitches about Democrats, which again, bizarre right now since Republicans have complete control of the government. Not really sure what you're complaining about. Nikki Haley says Democrats want to teach white kids that they're racist and minority kids that deck is stacked against them. Wokeism and 1619 are causing more divisions. We must stand up and stop them now. I didn't know this, but this response is perfect. As she calls Democrats racist, the response is, you literally whitewashed your name to get ahead in a non-racist America. You thought Nikki would give you a better chance than the name Nimrata Randwa. That's her real name, Nimrata Randwa. Yeah, it doesn't roll across the tongue just as well as Nikki Haley. So it turns out Nikki Haley had to change her name and try to hide the fact that she's an Indian immigrant so that the Republican Party would accept her. So maybe glass houses on the racism stuff with that, Nikki. Why don't we calm down a little bit on that one with who's racist and who's not, huh? Now, not to say that there aren't a lot of racist Democrats, of course they are, but yeah, let's chill out a little bit. Oh, and then also one of the craziest stories that just dropped in MAGA. Have you guys heard about Kristi Noem's husband? Kristi Noem's husband, by the way. is in a lot of hot water because it turns out it's been leaked. He's a cross-dresser who's obsessed with bimbofication and wearing things like, you know, whatever this Miss Doubtfire shit is. So yes, Kristi Noem's husband, the one that she cucked when she had an affair, and he sat right behind her at the hearing when they were asking her about that affair. He is a cross-dresser who dresses up and wears fake women's breasts. So that's bizarre, you know. All of them they're all just freaks, right? They're just like all these evangelicals. And I'm sorry if you're an evangelical. I most certainly am not an evangelical. I am Christian, but just all of them are so bizarre, right? There's Lindsey Graham, Ted Cruz, Noam's husband, right? Benny Johnson's, like all of them are just a lot of weird stuff going on behind the scenes, right? The party of, hey, drag queen story hour is bad, which I do think it's bad. I'm not a supporter of that at all. Also, drag queens in their free time behind closed doors. Oh, that's a big yikes. Big yikes. Okay, a couple from Democrats. If you guys didn't see this week, Gavin Newsom completely threw his entire chances, his political campaign, and his future hopes of being president are now gone. And as you can see, this is from a Democrat channel, by the way. It says, in love and memory, Gavin Newsom's 2028 presidential bid. If you don't understand why they're saying that, that's because Gavin Newsom came out on a podcast this week and asked if he is a Zionist, and his answer was essentially yes, he is a Zionist. He supports Israel. He doesn't believe there was a genocide in Palestine. And yeah, basically just announced he's a little AIPAC boy, and yeah, it's not gonna go well for him in the Democrat Party because of that. So I think Gavin Newsom is basically thrown in the towel. Here's some news about special elections with Democrats. If you haven't seen this,
30-0. That's the score between Democrats and Republicans when it comes to the number of seats that have been flipped ever since Donald Trump's second term began.
As of last night, Democrats have now flipped 30 state legislative seats across this country since Trump was elected. Republicans, they've flipped 0.
That's not good for numbers, ladies and gentlemen. Heading into the midterms, the 30 special elections, Democrats have flipped 30 state House seats, Republicans, 0. Those are not good numbers, ladies and gentlemen. So for all of MAGA who thinks that you're gonna hold on, I don't know. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. It's looking like it's going to be one of the biggest blowouts in congressional history if it continues to poll the way it is. Okay, last section of the show. Let's see what we want to do here. Oh, if you didn't know this, check it out. You might want to check your own state. If you didn't know this is the state-by-state breakdown where it is illegal for you to receive a public contract if you boycott Israel. 37 of the states in the United States have passed this as law. And I'm in Oregon, which has passed this as law. So if you want to get business contracts, right, or public contracts or anything like that, and you have been found out to have criticized our greatest ally, well, you're no longer eligible for those contracts because that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Because yeah, that sounds like a lot of systemic control there. See what we got. Oh, there's a new script out on Twitter. If you haven't seen this script, as you can see, they're all saying the exact same thing, which they're all saying anti-Semites are turning me into a Zionist. Their low IQ energy is too much for anyone with intelligence to handle. And as you can see, they're all saying a little bit version or the same version of every single one. So that's the new paid smear shill campaign, is to pretend like you're headed in the Zionist direction. So yeah, I don't think that's actually true. And then this is actually a pretty crazy story as well, talking about the JFK files. It sounds like there's another 10,000 documents that were not released to us. I wonder why.
You know how we were told that we have all the JFK files now? Trump released them all, so we should be good on that story. Yeah, well, that's not true either.
So I have a friend who is close to the president, and I said to him at the time that the documents were released, about a year ago, I said, thank God that the president finally released the remaining documents. And he said, no, he didn't. I said, yeah, he did. He was compelled by law. Congress passed a law twice demanding, compelling.
He also passed a law to release all the Epstein files, and we still haven't got half of them. So obviously they don't really give a shit about Congress compelling them.
The president to release all documents related to the Kennedy assassination. He said, there are 10,000 documents that are never going to be released. And I said, why? And he said, because every single one of them points directly at Israel. And I said, oh man, that's not one that I was thinking of.
How was that? But I get like, what do you mean you weren't thinking of? You didn't think, you didn't know who killed JFK? That's like the least, that's like the least conspiracy theory out there. Everybody knows that one. That one's very, very obvious. 2 months after JFK said that he was shutting down our greatest ally's nuclear program, he was shot in the face. Come on. That one's a little silly at this point to try to pretend, right? Like with September 11th, some other ones, whatever. If you want to still, put your head in the sand, okay, fine. But JFK, nah, dude. Everybody knows that one. And we know why. They made it clear why, right? Only president to never kiss the wall. Okay. Now, I believe we made it through the primary part of the show on this one tonight, guys. So that was fantastic. So what we're going to do, we're going to as usual, take a little quick bathroom break, grab some more water, and then we are going to jump in and finish up the show with the super chats. So thank you all who were just here for the regular scheduled show. If you want to hang out with us as we grind through these super chats, I can see we got a lot. Then stick with us, all right? So what we're going to do, again, we'll take a little, couple minute break, refill your drinks, use the bathroom, and we will finish off the show. And we have this for a reason now. All right, I'll be back in about 2 minutes. Pull this up.
Ash on my tongue, iron in my lungs, blood on the snow, name on the sheets, night in my veins, storm in my ears, wolves trace our steps, God's count our kill. You are waiting for Valhalla, I can hear it in your roar. Every scar a burning banner, every heartbeat keeps the door. You are waiting for Valhalla as the crows begin to call. If I fall in thunder. You are waiting for Valhalla. Frost on the oars, breathe like white smoke. Eyes on the shore, fire in the dark. Both on my tongue, salt on my clothes. If this is the end, let it leave a mark. You are waiting for Valhalla, I can hear it in your roar. Every scar a burning banner, every heartbeat keeps the door. You are waiting for Valhalla as the crows begin to call. If I fall, I If I do not see the morning come.
Oh, okay. We're back. We're back. We're back. All right. All right. Still got, oh my God, still got 8,500 people here. Oh, thank you all so much, man. These live streams have been absolutely crazy. So yeah, and we're still at the old house in the old studio. The new studio is being renovated and put together right now. They're literally over there working on it. Super excited to get that built out, start having some guests over and doing in-person podcasts, in-person live streams with other really cool guests. So, well, yeah, emojis. I keep fucking forgetting. I've got them. Jasmine, did you remind me? And then I just probably missed your text because I got 1,000 things going on. I'm sure you probably did. Anyway, thousands of things going on while I'm moving, but we got a lot of cool stuff. A lot of cool stuff coming soon. Okay. All right, let's do it. Let's jump into the super chat. See what we got. See what everybody was thinking. We tried to keep up with it the best we could, but obviously there was a lot coming in. Right. So here we go. Let's do it. Was the government come up from the start? Yeah, sure seems like that now. I don't know if you don't believe the FBI is a part of this cover up at this point. Oof, I don't know. Look at the shadows of trees, pulls foreground. When guy jumps down, they lean hard right. 1220 footage from Another Time Day. Empty parking spaces. Not sure what you mean here. What the reference is here. We got him. Spider Cash. Oh, that's a Randy Marsh spinoff meme. I like that, AJ. Nick says, I'm a submariner, and even I know that it was BS that the round would have made a mess. They still haven't listed where he is buried. That's interesting, too. Furries aren't base enough to shoot 30-06. That's a great point, too. Didn't think about that. Yeah, pretty sure the shot was taken by Bronze Star backpack grenade toting Fed. That shall remain nameless. Tim Kennedy. Oh, my God. I haven't heard anybody say maybe it was Tim Kennedy. Tim Kennedy from the grassy knoll. Could have been, though. If the bullet don't fit, you must have quit. Well, I think we're headed to that. Just tried to ask a question about the name Kash Patel and his authority. The ATF ruling, YouTube wouldn't let me send it, stating hate speech. Wouldn't be shocked. We saw what happened to my video the other day when I made fun of him. Bobby says, been saying this kid was a patsy from day one. Yeah, that's what it seems like. And now it really seems like it. I don't know how they're going to walk out of that one, Bobby. And how are you going to try this kid at this point? It was already bad before the recent news we got today. If Tyler is the shooter, my dog is a Pomeranian. Yeah, I don't know. What is that, Doberman? Looks like a Doberman, though. Good looking dog, though. See, I Massad, hey kid, want to do some super cool secret squirrel stuff. Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot a lot more true than people realize with a lot of things that have happened in this country, I think. I work with a recently retired Navy vet, and he's been spewing the MAGA Iran stuff. He claimed that my economic concern isn't valid because I don't know the cost of freedom. Your coworker, hey, tell your coworker, and you can show him this clip. If you want to screen grab this, then I'll let you screen grab it. Tell your coworker from a retired Green Beret that he's a fucking moron, and he probably, as a Navy veteran, didn't fucking fight any wars himself either, so he can shut his fucking mouth. There's that. Okay, keep it moving. Toxic Shake, $20. Thank you, brother. Bobby says, still waiting for the rooftop video from that security camera that's up there. Yeah, we know. It's been proven that camera's got perfect line of sight to where he was laying down shooting. We haven't seen that video. Are we going to see that video? I don't think so at this point, Bobby. I think that video is a big problem because it may not show him on the ground shooting. But if it does, I don't know. That'll be interesting. But we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. Bullet does not match, but Erica still wants us to stop. Yeah. Ooh, imagine how TPUSA is feeling right now, huh? Going, oh, fuck. Look at, I don't know if Tyler Robinson pulled the trigger, but the story has always been sus. Where was the rifle when he was walking up to the roof? We have never seen it. He did not have a 30-06 with him going up to the roof. We know that for a fact, at least by the pictures and videos they showed us. As a gun owner, it wasn't his skinny jeans with bent knees. No, that we've already debunked that on this channel a million times. There was no 30-06 in his skinny jeans. Hegseth versus Patel in the octagon. What's the outcome? Oh, Hegseth beats the shit out of Patel. Patel's tiny, dude. He's the tiny little boy, dude. And I versus each one of them at the same time, probably fold them both. I know you're asking one-on-one, but that's not even a discussion. So both of them at the same time, yeah, I'd probably still fold both of them in half. Realistically, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but I'm just way bigger than they are, and neither of them know how to fight or train. So, not that I'm the best in the world, but that's what I do for a hobby. So, sir, the chickens and the dogs are fed up. The boomstick is for the farmer. That's a good one. Reminder: Bill Ackman, billionaire, Zio paid Tyler fam $1 million for turning his son. And yeah, I'm not sure that story ended up being true either. A lot of those initial stories ended up not being true. So yeah, Valve goes to trial, Lee Harvey all over again. Yeah, I think so, man. I think so. I don't think at this point, if he makes it to trial, I'm going to be surprised. Now the FBI will have to do real investigation who benefited from Charlie's deck, Erica, TPUSA, question mark. A lot of people did retroactively. We can look back in hindsight now. A lot of money was made off Charlie's death by those organizations that you just mentioned. As in like $200 million, like $250 million was made off the back of that. So, what we need is Sherlock Holmes. Where's Sherlock just another day? And the old Trumpers FBI. Yep. We do need one. Instead, we have Kash Patel. So is it time to throw the tea in the harbor? Probably not. We probably got a ways to go for that still. Thank you. Thank you. Robinson, I'm covering for broken system. We don't have a nation governed by laws or the Constitution. Wake up. Okay. Joe Kent told Sean Ryan that Charlie was pushing Trump hard to alter his stance on war with Iran. So go off. Oh, this one. That was weird. Hold on a second. That was weird. I thought I was going crazy there for a second, guys. It actually did. My green light went off there, just randomly went off. Okay. I would have lost my mind there. Okay. Let me do this one again. Joe Kent told Sean Ryan that Charlie was pushing Trump hard to alter his stance in war with Iran. So who really benefits most from Charlie's death? Yeah, we covered that on Friday. This exact thing. Yep, we know that. Puppy Paw says, if Spider Crash put as much energy into actually doing his job as he does being a fuckwit, then maybe something would actually get done. His daily life in jail, reality TV show I'd pay to watch. I mean, he's lied under oath a bunch of times himself. He's been caught. So 70 to 90% of fragment bullets don't match the gun due to damage to the bullet. That's a bizarre. See, anytime you see somebody say a range of percents, you can automatically throw it off as this is not real information, right? 63 to 78% of statistics are made up on the spot. Yeah, that's not how this works. Not matching that doesn't mean it wasn't the bullet, just bad evidence. Yeah, and what difference does that make? You don't understand law at all. If the evidence is destroyed or bunk, it's no longer evidence. It's non-permissible in the court. Do you understand what that means? That means the bullet does not match the fucking gun because they can't conclusively match the two. So it's not permissible evidence. I don't know why this is so hard for people to understand. They're like, well, this is usually how it works, but it's like, it doesn't fucking matter. They can no longer match a rifle, but by the way, was not found at the crime scene. You understand that's the big problem with the rifle now? The rifle wasn't found at the crime scene where the shot was taken from. It was found in a random chicken coop 500 meters away, which means they cannot tie that weapon to the shooter if they can't ballistically match the round in Kirk's neck to a rifle found 500 meters away in a random fucking person's property in their chicken coop. Come on. Work with me here. Use your critical thinking brains. This is not hard. This is very low level stuff to understand. Okay? Please. You're going to frustrate me with the dumb shit. Whoa, big donation right here. That'll make me feel a little bit better. $100 dono from Seacoat says, Florida here. Most people think in our swamp, the most dangerous predator is the alligator. This is false information. Our most dangerous invasive predator eats alligators for breakfast. The similarities in Florida and Washington are amazing. Snakes, and they are spreading. Okay. This is some good Florida knowledge. Thank you for this. I'm not sure what we were talking about Florida and alligators, other than clavicular. I don't know if you guys saw, but clavicular, the number one ranked Chad, I believe they call it in the rankings, is arrested for shooting a alligator in Florida, I believe, a bunch of times that was already dead. So unfortunate for the looks maxing community, I guess. Very, very, very sad days right now for them. So Gen Z is in shambles at the moment. Sorry. But thank you. 19th group has skills. Yeah, I guess if you think the National Guard groups have skills, they're okay. They're pretty good. It's part-time. A lot of those guys are also guys that were active duty Green Berets that then went National Guard. So they usually are some pretty good teams in 19th and 20th. They're not as good as, in my opinion, they're not as good as active duty teams because they're not full-time teams, but they still do some pretty good work. Nate, if there is a trial, does Robinson make it to the trial or does he mysteriously die? We talked about that like 5 times. I don't know. I think they need to get rid of him because now I think he walks with what we've seen, unless there's all this evidence that's going to show us everything. But what we've seen so far is not great. Yeah, it makes it scarier. Wow. Can't move past that one. Can't read that online. Tybler, probably by meeting Jack Ruby soon. Repeat ballistics with the 177 22 mag 223 air rifle 25-30 under 100 yards. We've already done this. It goes through everything. All of these under 100 yards do. The vast majority of the time. Tyler Robinson going to get hit by going to court by another. Oh, Tyler Robinson shot going to court by another patsy. That could be. That's very Lee Harvey Oswald. I just got that one. Haltom says, Nate, needed your live more than ever tonight. The world is ending and we are all condemned thanks to the Zios. Thanks for adding some levity to this dire situation. God bless. I hope not. I'm trying to be optimistic about the whole thing. I'm hoping Donald Trump capitulates and gives up and just throws in the towel and surrenders and comes home and declares victory so that we can all cut this bullshit. But it also doesn't look like that's going to happen at the same time. It also looks like we're escalating things dramatically. And the Pentagon is talking about a 2-month ground invasion now. So hopefully that's another feint, right? Like we're going to say we're going to ground invade and then we're going to declare victory and surrender and leave. That's what I would hope. But again, I don't know what we're going to get. Watch the movie threads. WW3 happens in Iran by proxy. We're pretty much already in WW3. If you look around the world, the entire world's at war for the most part. So kind of looks like we're at the start of it. If you look back in the if history looks back on it, it'll probably look at if things continue to escalate and spiral the way they are right now. History will probably look back at this time period and look at it as like, the build up into WW3. But let's hope not. Nobody wants that. I'm going to fight this, and now I'm going to be called a bootlicker. Inconclusive bullet analysis is very common forensics. Okay, cool. Again, you're not a bootlicker. You just don't fucking understand anything. So yes, inconclusive, which means they can't match the fucking bullet to the gun. That's what the fucking word means. God, dude. Plus Israel. Do you not know what inconclusive means? People. Talking about evidence. That's like let's say this. Your DNA was used and they can't match your fucking DNA to the murder weapon. It's not admissible in court. Please. Just Google what the word inconclusive means, for the love of God. It's like the 10th time I've seen that comment. I'm sorry to beat you up for it, but holy fuck, dude. Inconclusive evidence is non-permissible in court. That means they can't use it. Fuck. Okay. The darkness drops again, but now I know that 20 centuries of stony sleep were vexed to nightmare by a rocking cradle. And what rough beast this hour came round at last, slouches toward Bethlehem to be born. YB Yeats. All right. How they mess up the gun and ballistics so bad, I don't know. But it's bad at this point. Not only did Trump say he didn't know Iran would do this, he also said it's not fair they're doing it. He did say that. He did throw a tantrum about it. It's not fair they closed the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah, war's not fair. Not supposed to be fair. Anyway. Wang Gang. Thank you. Info from guys I served with about Iran. Do you have it, info? Send it to me. Roy says, remember the Reichstag fire? MAGA wanted this to happen so they can crack down on civil liberties and cleanse their own ranks. So the truth of murder becomes the least mattered here. My humble opinion. A lot of people think this, right? A lot of people think this. I've been one that's tried to say, I don't think this type of thing is coming, but it gets more and more authoritarian by the minute. So hard to argue against you at the moment, brother, on that one. Puppy Paw says, Australia, wear a t-shirt saying from the river to the sea and get 2 years in jail. Holy shit. American FBI cover up murder and get a drinking session with the Olympic ice hockey team. What a world we live in. Is this true? Is this true that you can get 2 years in jail for wearing that t-shirt? I believe you, but oh my God. Oh my God. Trump didn't attempt secure the Strait of Hormuz before the war, if that's even possible, so he and his cronies can manipulate the markets. Well, they're definitely manipulating the markets for sure. Also, what a cute little kitty you got here. What's up, Maximus? What's up, brother? Says, what's the deal with S&P 500? It should be having consecutive minus 2% days, and today it looked like we won the not war. Yeah, dead cat bounce. It's very normal in a crashing market. You'll see this. Any crashing market that you'll see is going down 2% day over day over day over day. A little bit of good news will spike the market for a day, and usually it's going to recrash. It's called the dead cat bounce. So super common in a bear market or a dying market. You see it all the time. The market almost never just goes straight down. It's going to like pivot. It's going to do this on its way down and up as well, right? It does the same thing as it goes up. So yeah, it's just a dead cat bounce, most likely is what it's called. But anyway, yeah, that's what's going on with that. Good day from Australia. Trump just came out and said that the UK, or to the UK, and assuming our part of the world, to take the oil for yourselves if you can come by off us because we got plenty. What's your thoughts? Yeah, he told the entire world that we're potentially just going to leave the Strait of Hormuz and you guys have to figure it out. So isn't that a great ally? We started a war without your guys's, without even bringing it up to you guys that we're going to start a war. That war has utterly fucked all of our allies, and now we're probably going to bail from that war and hand you the shit sandwich and say, good luck, figure it out. Sorry. The art of the deal, baby. Our allies love us. Yeah, the entire world hates our guts right now, by the way. So that's not great. The bullet doesn't the gun. No kidding. Israel government is definitely involved in this. The bullet doesn't the gun. I'm thinking you mean doesn't match the gun. Yeah, that's what the ATF report says. The ATF ballistic forensics expert who was brought on to do the testing for the trial. That's apparently what he has said. Time for Hanoi Hannah to make a comeback. Only instead of GI, our own government doesn't care about you. You change GI. Yeah. Info I got tomorrow or next day for invasion. Oh, okay. Well, we're going to find out if you're right or not. I think he's going to do it on a weekend if he's going to do it, so he can manipulate the markets with it. So they, him and his buddies can make hundreds of millions of dollars off of it. Just going to say, U.S. very quick special military operation sounds a whole lot like Putin's SMO in Ukraine. Yeah, just a few weeks to flatten the curve, as they say. Would have been easier to take Iran in 03 or now. In 03 for sure, because modern warfare and drones didn't exist in 2003. So it wouldn't have been easy then, by the way. It would have been a nightmare to try to do, but it would have been far easier than it is now, for sure. For the modern warfare is made with drones and ballistic missiles and stuff like that is complicated things dramatically for ground invasions. Our buddy JD is in the chat with the big "we are winning." What's up, buddy? What's up, buddy? We love you here. Let's see what we got here. Oh, we did that one, right? Thank you for calling out the obvious hypocrisy. Well, I tried to do my best. That's right, Don. Just blame Pete. Roy says our military have worse pullout game than oh my god, than a Mormon couple with a dozen kids. 2 months in and out for Pentagon sounded more like 20-year quagmire with leaving a bunch of mixed babies in U.S. weapons. I don't think we left a whole lot of mixed babies in the Middle East. In Vietnam, we definitely did, but we definitely left the weapons. We definitely left a lot of $1 trillion in weapons for sure. Nearly $1 trillion. No, probably not that much. I don't know, a couple $100 billion probably. Or I don't know, who knows? It could probably be even that close. So now our greatest ally is not going to be sending any troops to support the war that they wanted and started. This should wake up. It should be a wake up call for Americans and not to agree taxpayer money goes to them any longer. Yeah, you would think You would think that, but I mean, they didn't help us with the global war on terror either. So don't be shocked when they don't spend any of their blood. Oh my God. Who's JD talking shit to? JD said, Winston, did your dad tell you about that night in the hotel? Oh my God. I don't know what's going on in the chat, but somebody just got binkied. Somebody just got binkied real hard by JD. Okay. Let's keep moving. June 8th to 12th, Florida heading to DC to voice our disgust over the e-files. Join us. Interesting. June 8th. We'll see. We'll see. That's a long ways away from me. I'm in Oregon, so that's fully across the country. I think we need to dive deeper into the military involvement in CK assassination and overall involvement in political decisions. Military, no. I keep trying to tell you guys, the military is not the organization you go to for assassinations. No, you go to like the CIA paramilitary and shit like that. That's who you're gonna use for target assassination. Much like Mossad. Yeah, you're not using the military for that. It's just not the way the military works. Now, you could have some former military guys, right, who maybe you hire on that could carry off something like that. But no, you'd want to look in the CIA direction for something like that. CIA paramilitary and stuff like that. That's where the killing gets done when we're talking about assassinations. My problem is I get questioning the U.S. propaganda, but believing Iranian propaganda is crazy. Plus, we had nuke backpacks in the 60s. Of course, Iran has propaganda, but so does the United States. What Iranian propaganda? Are you talking about like their AI pictures they put out about bombing aircraft carriers? No, nobody believes that. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the Strait of Hormuz being closed. Do you think the Strait of Hormuz being closed is Iranian propaganda? I've seen people say this. I've literally seen MAGA say this, that the Strait of Hormuz is open and it's propaganda. I realize you're fucking retarded, but don't pull that bullshit to us. Okay. We don't have time for it. Okay. Using the rest of my GI ability to study Chud theory. Love JD. That's pretty funny, actually. All right. What's the difference between Iran and Vietnam? Trump had a plan to get out of Vietnam. Oh, fuck. Wow. That's a good Trump joke. I hadn't heard that one yet. That's a good Trump joke. Oof. Oof. Ouch. Chud theory is hilarious. Chud theory is hilarious. That's some Gen Z shit right there for sure. We were winning so much, President Trump says Americans can't take it anymore. We got this one a bunch of times last stream. Do you think Americans are going to install the Shah? Oh, here in Canada, the Persian diaspora held a rally where they shouted, "Thank you, Trump." Yeah, I bet they did. Yeah. Is America going to install Raza Pahlavi? Donald Trump said himself, Raza Pahlavi is not popular in Iran, and I will not be putting him in power. Donald Trump said that. So you see this shit? No, the Shah's son will not be put into power in Iran. No. That's silly shit. That's just silly shit. Anybody who tells you they think that's actually going to happen, you can go ahead and move on with the conversation to something else. Y'all are naysayers. The orange guy is just doing some 4-dimension chess. Yeah, got us. I think it's a lot higher than 4-dimension chess now. I think we're in the double to triple digits at this point. MK says, here we go again. We're winning so much that we really don't know what to do about it. People are asking me, please, Mr. President, we are winning too much. We can't take it anymore, says President Donald Trump. Yeah, I can't take it anymore. I'm so tired of winning, guys. It's crazy. Somebody said 4 delusional chest. Okay, that one's pretty funny too. 4 delusional chest. I like that one. Yeah, we are. I'm tired of winning as well, guys. Frank says finding it hard not to hate or find the patience to suffer fools, and yet look at what claims to represent us on the world stage. Yeah, I know, man. Diesel's already $7 a gallon in CA. Thank God I drive a company truck. Woo! Yeah, it's over $6 a gallon here in Oregon. So, and I live in a farming community, and they're not doing well with the rising cost of fertilizer and diesel. It's just destroying our farming communities. But yay, they don't care. Casual says combat vet marine here. We went above and beyond to fight within the ROEs. Correct. Hegseth is a disgrace, an embarrassment, and bad example for active duty ground marines and soldiers. Majority of troops are smarter than that, though. Yeah. 100%. For him to come out and say that we don't fight with rules of engagement, that's a disgusting thing to say. Yes, we do. We pride ourselves in America on not being like people who don't do that, ISIS, etc. We pride ourselves by not doing that type of thing. But didn't keep him from coming out and saying it on the world stage, of course. God's Country, big $50 donation. Thank you so much. Says, don't worry, our 18-year-olds will die alone without our greatest allies' help, who's bordering the country we're jumping into. Didn't see any our greatest ally flags in Afghanistan and Iraq. Yeah, because they weren't there. Did you see the stripper going viral next to a base? I did see that viral video. Boys dropping money before shipping out. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, I didn't save it for the episode tonight. But there's a viral video of a stripper next to one of the military bases, and it was actually a really sad video because you could see she was actually emotional and kind of upset about it, talking about how just tons of young soldiers are coming in and just blowing all their money and telling the strippers it's because they're deploying soon. And they're like actually sad. The strippers are actually like sad about it. So yeah, I mean, they weren't even doing it to like be rude. She was actually like sad and upset that the soldiers were telling her that. So yeah, not great to hear that. You know, you guys, here's what's crazy. I don't know if you guys knew this, but like strippers are actually some of the best people to talk to about things like the economy. If you didn't know this, rather than watching YouTube videos, if you want to know how the economy is, go ask a stripper. Strippers are like the benchmark, and even the finance world will tell you this. They're like the benchmark for letting you know what the economy really is, because that's one of those things that's like the first thing to go with expendable income in a bad economy. Tattoo artists are another one. If you want to know what the economy is like, talk to tattoo artists, talk to strippers, people who tag cash only for things that people can go without. When that starts to go down, and it is, then, you know, it's a note to self. It's a real thing, guys, and you'll actually hear that in the finance bros will talk about that. Like, hey, don't listen to the finance podcast. Just go ask your local stripper how the economy's going. She'll let you know. We did this one already. Bobby says everything from diapers to pharmaceuticals comes from hydrocarbons. Yes, and especially our pharmaceuticals. People don't think about that. Been in oil and gas for over 40 years. We lose 30% more to do to this. We won't recover anytime soon. Anyone remember 1979? Bobby, great point. What a lot of people also don't realize is they think if the war ends tomorrow and the Strait of Hormuz is opened right back up, the gas prices go down in like 4 days back to where they were. No. That's not the way global supply chains works. As Bobby just mentioned, it's going to take probably years to come. If it ended right now perfectly, and the Strait opened up, it would take months and months and months, if not years, to get the global supply chains back on track. Look at what happened with COVID, right? You guys remember the supply chain issues and how long that took to unfuck? Now you're talking about the global oil market. It's going to take much, much longer to fix than people realize. But it's not even going to start to be fixed until obviously the war is over and the Strait of Hormuz is reopened, and there's no end in sight to that at the moment. Pashtun kicked the British out with no weapons at all. Read Nonviolent Soldier of Islam by Eknath Ease Warren about Badgadash Khan, who was Gandhi Muslim's roommate. When we went to Afghanistan, I knew we would lose. Yeah, it's called the Graveyard of Empires for a reason. They kicked out the British, the Russians, us. Pretty much nobody's been able to take and secure Afghanistan, and Persia is the same way, by the way. Super sticker. Thank you, Drew, with $50 super sticker. That's crazy generous of you, brother. Thank you very much, man. Thank you. Kenneth says, my company is starting to let drivers. Oh, here. Yeah, we've talked. I think you've talked to us about problems in freight too before. Says, my company is starting to let drivers go to cut back on operating costs for diesel. Some major carriers aren't going to states except major freight shortages if diesel breaks $150 a barrel. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Not good for the economy. And we're just seeing the first parts of it, right? We're seeing the lag, and it's going to catch up. Things like this are going to start happening. We're going to go into a recession. Like, all those things are going to happen if we continue on this path. Texas says this is about saving the petrodollar and giving our greatest ally what they've wanted since 1948. It's not doing a great job saving the petrodollar. Maybe the idea was to do this to save the petrodollar, but this is actually killing the petrodollar faster than anything ever has done in America. So that backfired. Why was anyone fooled by Trump? Because he's a pathological liar and he's charismatic. And so You know, a lot of people fall for that. A con artist. Well, he's a con artist. That's what we should say, right? He's a charismatic, funny con artist. And most con artists are very charismatic people to be able to trick people. The problem is now he's got dementia and he's old and he's not funny anymore. And so all the things that made him likable, right, are pretty much gone. And so now it's just all bad. And people are realizing that at this point. There's nothing redeeming about Trump anymore. Much love, Nate. Grand Bear says, my cuz was a 0311 Marine in training with blanks. So our greatest allies armed. Yeah, this was happening to us in Okinawa during Ukraine. Jesse on Fire's last vid, scary AF. Just saying, haven't watched his most recent one yet, but I watch all his stuff, so I'll look for it. One Brave Legend said, recent listener, first time commentator, what if this administration actually forged an agent intentionally inflicting harm on our nation now? Yeah, I mean, it's not a unrealistic theory to have, because when you look around, it feels like this is all intentional to destroy not only the United States, but the entire West and all of our allies. It feels and looks like, policy-wise, decision-wise, that is the intent. So I think I can't prove that is the case, but I can say that your thought process, I don't think, is wrong, because it does feel that way. It does feel like it's intentional. So Jax says, K9, oh my God, look at that Rottweiler. We love Rottweilers. My baby's a Rottweiler. Thank you for keeping it real. You are appreciated. Your show keeps me informed and cracking up. Your reaction is much like my own when others state the obvious. Yeah. Oh, love your dog, by the way. Rottweilers are my favorite dogs. Kelly says, hey, Nate, thank you for all you do to bring us truth. Did you hear about Noam's husband being a cred? I don't know if you were here on the show when we talked about that section, but yes, we did cover Kristi Noam's husband being, what was he into? What was this called again? I think I got it over here, right? He was into bimbofication. That's what, maybe this is what MAGA calls it, because they don't want to call them drag queens or cross-dressers. They call it bimbofication kinks. So that's the MAGA term. The MAGA term for it, right? That takes a little bit of the somebody said bimbo maxing. Where was that? That's super funny. Man, I love the Gen Z talk, man. I'm learning it all. I'm learning all the maxings and the moggings and the foids. I've been learning all of it because I got Gen Z kids, and our son has his friends over all the time, and they're in high school, like 16 to 18 years old. So I gotta learn all the terms. So we're doing pretty well with it so far. I don't know about weapons, but could it be possible the guy just used wrong bullet for the weapon and still fit it in home sound? No, that's not how it works. You just can't put random bullets from different caliber weapons inside a rifle and have them fire. No, that's not the way firearms work. As a fuel hauler, the gas stations are so low constantly in Oklahoma. We are busy. That's the second person we've had out of the freight environment tell us that it's not looking good. So that's not great. Thank you, brother. Appreciate the donation, by the way. And an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve. Yes, it is infinite because they can just print more out of thin air, baby, and drive up inflation and destroy the future for our children. Can't do it if you're wasting time investigating. We're winning so much. President Trump says Americans can't take it anymore. Thank you, brother. You love to leave that comment. And it's funny every time. Caucasian Wiz says, speaking of layoffs at the VA, my VRNE counselor just emailed me a couple days ago that she'll be leaving the VA. That timeline sort of lines up. That's so fucked up. So for those who don't know, the VRNE, that's like part of the system that is handling disability, processing claims for veterans. So yeah, disabled veterans basically are being fucked over too for this. So great, yay, whoa, as they send our boys and daughters, our boys and girls off into another forever war as they are gutting the VA. That's nice. That's a good way to take care of your soldiers. Trumpy Bear don't want more. Yeah, I don't know about that. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. Taco Joe says the funny part of the Fed is that the Fed chair does not set the interest rate even after his time as Fed chair. He could still chair the committee that sets the interest rates. True. Yeah, Jerome Powell doesn't. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Jerome Powell doesn't by himself just decide at a whim what interest rates are going to be. They have an entire committee that votes on it. So but he is the head of that committee. Tiptoe says, but America, we saw how he ran his businesses. Yeah, how many companies did he bankrupt, guys? Do you guys know? I don't remember exactly how many he bankrupt, but I believe it was quite a few. Somebody will put it in the chat. Somebody will know. Jimmy says, yeah, Netanyahu has best job. He gets paid by America to tell the POTUS what to do. Yeah, he's the worst president we've ever had in America, in my opinion. I think Bibi is the worst American president we've ever had. That's my personal opinion, and I can have it if I want. What's the intro song? That intro song was made by Jared Taylor specifically for me. It's just a song that he made himself for me. So whatever we want to call it, he made it for, and he made my whole intro and all the graphics for it too. Jared Taylor from Black Rifle Coffee Company. I'm sure most of you guys know who I'm talking about. He's the homie. He made all that for me. He's very, very talented, obviously, with music. He's got his own band, if you guys didn't know. What's yours been this Saturday, I believe? Hold on, let me pull it up. It's actually very good music too. I've a lot of his music I really like. Let's see if we can pull it up. Yep, this Saturday band, technically. I'll put it in the pinned comment if you guys want to check it out. Whoa, what the hell? Sorry. I'm gonna have to get that to refresh. All right, I'll put it in there in a sec. Roy says, for the MAG warmongers, the hardest conversation I had was translating for casualty information officer when he informed a Taiwanese couple that their son was killed in training. Now let that sink in. That's the worst job in the military, is informing next of kin that their husbands or sons or daughters have been killed. The worst job. It's an actual job, not job like MOS, but it's an actual job that some guys get. Like we have guys on the teams. You might have a guy on the team that's dedicated and has to go through training and learn how to do it. And it's like the worst. That's like the worst job ever. I've got buddies that have done it and have to go tell, teammates' wives, walk up to the door like you see in the movies. That's all real. We do it just like that. Very, very sad. Very, very traumatic job for the guys that have to do that as well. Yeah. Rough stuff, man. Six's mom says he's obviously trying to bring America down. What I don't understand is why. Thoughts from Aloha. Yeah, we just talked about that. We don't know why, but it does feel that way. Right? It does feel that way. I don't know how else we could really look at it. It's America last everything. I want to thank you for keeping track of Brandon Tatum, Island Boy, Ben, Bongina, and the rest of the clowns. I got no mood and patience to keep track. Thank you, Nate, for saving my mental health. Your sacrifice, much appreciated. Yeah, I have to actually watch some of their content to be able to report on the content. So trust me, I don't enjoy it at all. I'm triggered listening to all their dumb shit the entire time. But it's the price we pay. That's the price. That's the price we got to pay to bring you guys the news. So thank you, Super Sticker. Appreciate you, brother. Abdullah says, first it was Ben Shapipi. Now, I can't say that. Did you guys know JD, I don't know if JD's still here. He got a week-long ban. Was it a week-long ban for that? Because he said that about Epstein. Although Megyn Kelly can say it freely on her channel. No, but she didn't get in any trouble. Praise to be Jesus of Nazareth. All right. Quantum says, that Bongino video is hilarious. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, I know. That's amazing, huh? The music video. Thank you, brother. Julin Machine said, my dad was a John Deere dealer. I grew up in green and yellow. I endorse your lawnmower preference. Yeah, I mean, we got it left with the house when we bought the new house because they didn't want to take it with them. So we do have one now. What's up, Katie? Katie says, looks like Christy Noam likes to live her life in a twisted game of F, marry, kill. F'd that dork Corey, killed her dog, and married the lotion guy from Silence of the Lambs. What a dumpster fire. I mean, that's actually perfect. That is literally what she did. She fucked her coworker, killed her dog, and married a creepy bimbo maxer. Oh, Katie, that was good. That was one of the best jokes of the night for sure. Well done. All right. Harvest says, most MAGA people never realized that it was always make our greatest ally great again. Trump was compromised well before he got elected. Even if voting mattered, you wouldn't vote. Maybe. I'm not disagreeing with you at all, by the way. All I know is what I'm saying now, and this is true now for sure. Sup, Nate? When do we get to see the new setup for your studio and your new casa? Cheers. Okay, so way I'm going to do it, we're doing a full before and after. So if you are with us on Patreon, I'm first going to show you all of because we're going into renovations now, what it looks like, completely gutted and everything, and I'm going to show the entire new stuff we're doing, the gym we're building and everything like that, and then I'll do an after as well. But I'll show you guys everybody the after. But if you're on Patreon, you'll get to see all of the before of what the new studio and everything's going to look like as well. So hopefully we have it. We have the renovators working on it. Well, they're probably not there right now because it's 8:00 at night, but they started working on it today. So I'm hoping to have the studio done in the next week or two, hopefully, ideally, right? Unless things go wrong. But we still have the studio at the old house too. So this is what we got for now. Did you see the news about Christy Nolan's husband? Yes, we did. We've talked about it 2 or 3 times now. Yeah, and it's funny every time. Quantum says, would you mind if I use your polls as a source of data and references in my university school papers? Help yourself, brother. Your channel will be properly sourced for course, current, Bliss, USM student, Mahalo. Yep, knock yourself out, man. Use the polls, and yeah, you can pull them. I mean, the last poll we did was they had like 11,000 people in here that are voting on that poll. So it's actually pretty huge. It's actually a pretty huge poll. I mean, tens of thousands of people voting on a poll is a lot bigger than most polls. So help yourself, man. Knock it out. Glad to help. Gen Z is based because they have Gen X parents. Ah, interesting. I think you're onto something there. Hello to all the ladies up in here. We do have a lot of ladies up in here. We love the ladies here. We love our female community here. We have a pretty big female community. 20% of my subscribers are female, and we have close to 500,000. So that's close. What is that? 110,000 female subscribers. So, or 100,000 female subscribers. So yeah, we do actually have a pretty decent sized female audience. Love it. I love it. I did not used to have that, by the way. When I was doing strictly military and special operations related content, I had 96.5% men and 3% women, 5% undetermined. So we've definitely grown a pretty large female audience, which is very, very cool. Okay, where did I go here? Super sticker. On the super sticker. Thank you, by the way. Why is he still here? Appreciate it. Newfound says Trump unironically meets all the criteria for the guy who started taping Heavenly Kingdom. Are you talking about Kingdom of Heaven? Maybe I'm misreading that one. He just needs to declare Heavenly State of America. I'm not sure if I know what that is. Thank you for the super sticker, brother. Lindsay's very pretty girl's name. Are you a pretty girl, Lindsay? Lady G. Yeah, Lindsay Graham, baby. That little fucking creep. Justin says Trump will address the country tomorrow to announce ground invasion. My old shipmates in case messages to their wives. Or he's going to announce we're leaving the war. You never know with this guy. You cannot determine what this crazy fucker is going to do. That's why I'm not betting on it on the Kalshi odds or anything, because goddamn, you have no idea what Trump's going to do next. We could launch a massive 20-year ground invasion tomorrow, and we could also just bail out of the Middle East tomorrow. Literally, either one could happen. Nobody knows. Let's hope for the best. Deportations happen, or America is done long term. Well, they're not happening. They happened under Bill Clinton. They happened under George Bush. They happened under Obama, but they have not happened under Biden and Trump. So, hi, my name is Lindsay, and I'm your fairy godmother. Just saying, I should not have said that. Nope, I should not have said that. Could you imagine? Lindsey Graham showing up. Oh my God. My internet, guys. I don't know if we're back or not. My internet just completely went out. Completely went out. Nah, it wasn't the government. It was the internet to all my stuff. We back? Okay, yeah. No, my full internet just went down. Like the internet provider went down. I could see it from my the icon on my desktop went completely out. Yeah, that one was not the targeted attack. That was just our internet provider. Internet provider went down. Okay. Now I got to figure out where we were in the super chats, unfortunately. Okay, there's we found Katie's. Okay, so that's a good point of reference here. Let's see. Break song 8. Wait, I'm confused. Wait, was it this one? No, we didn't do this one. Oh, it was this one, right? Yippee was last. This seems like where we left off, right? I think this is where we left off. Yep. Okay. Oh, cool tattoo, Joe. Thank you. Maybe Drinking says, "Come on, Lady G wasn't alone at Disney. He was meeting his contact from a country that will not be named." Oh God, I hope that's not where his meetups are. Little creeper, dude. Little creeper. Josh says, "Why don't we vote Libertarian? We have not had one. Is it possible to get enough people together? What are your thoughts?" There's a lot of libertarians. I am not a full-blown libertarian. I do have a lot of libertarian viewpoints ideologically. I'm kind of like a mix between a libertarian and a conservative in a lot of ways. The problem is just libertarian is just not that far away from a conservative to really be looked at as its own party, I guess. Especially now with the way things are shifting around. Thomas Massey is a good example of a, sort of a libertarian, but there's not really. Ron Paul, another one. But we don't really like the two-party system is just so brutal to me, and it's designed to make sure that third-party candidates can never win. But it's hard that way. So somebody said, what's the difference? So you have conservatives, which believe in things like limited government and more of like a nationalist approach, not wanting to, no more forever wars and things like that are kind of a part of conservatism in a lot of different ways. And then you have libertarians, which libertarian is like a very like extreme version of that, where they want the most limited government possible. Okay. Don't fuck with me. Right. Anything that's not an absolute fundamental requirement for society to function, libertarians do not want that as part of the government, which I do like that approach for a lot of things. It's like the extreme version of limited government. The problem is libertarians can sort of veer towards almost anarchy, I guess, where you talk about like no government at all. Not that libertarians believe that, but yeah, libertarian is like the extreme version of limited government for conservatives. But at this point, honestly, libertarians are probably the best case, right? Because our government's so bloated and so full of bullshit and fraud and bureaucracy that the libertarian approach might be the best approach, which would be like a libertarian would want the IRS abolished, the FBI abolished, the CIA abolished. You would want like the ATF abolished. You would want anything that potentially is going to have government control over anything constitutionally. They would want that removed. Well, kind of sounds good. They want the Fed abolished, want the Federal Reserve abolished. Yeah, I know. When you hear it that way, you're like, it kind of sounds like it's a pretty good plan. So I do err on the side of conservative libertarian for sure. I say it all the time that I'm fiscally conservative. This is what I really am. Okay, in my pure politics, I'm fiscally conservative, socially libertarian. And what that means is I have fiscal conservative outlooks. Like I want limited government. I want lower spending. Socially, the way I look at things, whether it be abortion, whether it be whatever, is if it doesn't negatively affect other people, I don't care how you live your life, right? Whether what your religion is, what your sexual identity is, I don't give a shit. As long as you aren't harming other people, harming society, harming your local community, do whatever the fuck you want to do. Gay, straight, doesn't matter to me at all. Okay. That's a social libertarian. Whereas a lot of conservatives would not agree with social libertarian. They want things like banning abortion and things like that. That's not necessarily part of conservative values, but it's kind of sort of attached to the conservative movement. So for me, yeah, social libertarian, I don't want to control anybody's life. I want everybody to be happy. I want them to be able to live their lives exactly how they want to, whether it's gay, straight, trans, I don't care, but I want you to keep your fucking hands off the kids. No drag queen story hour. Like that shit is a non-starter for me, right? But as long as it's not negatively affecting anyone else or society, then do you, man. Do you. That's the way I look at it. And that's a pretty libertarian approach. So hopefully that made sense. The 20 mil number is BS MAGA. What, 20 million? No, it's not. I'm just going to skip your comment. No, if you don't think there's at least a minimum 20 million illegal immigrants in this country over the last 100 years, then yeah, you're just not paying attention, man. Sorry. I'm not going to play that game. It's just dumb. Again, I don't even have a problem with a lot of the illegal immigrants, especially the ones that have no violent crimes, no criminal records. Their massive amount of our farm work, our ranch work, our manufacturing work, our plant work is done by the illegal immigrant community. And if you're here, and you have no criminal record, you're raising a family, you're working hard, you're contributing to American society, I really don't give a shit. Like, I think there should be a decent path to citizenship for you. But if you're committing any crime whatsoever and you're caught for it, you are doing anything that's not just purely abiding by, and assimilating to America, you can get the fuck out. You can get the fuck out of my country immediately. And that goes for all of the enclaves that we have around the country. But if you're here and you're working hard and you're trying to do best for your family and you're providing, and yeah, I don't have a problem with that. So again, you can have your own opinions. I want all 20 million deported, or I don't want any of them deported. That's up to you. I'm not going to tell you what to believe, but let's not try to lie and say that there's not very many illegal immigrants in the country, because that's a little silly. Very, very silly. It's probably close to 30 or 40 million. Anyway, that's my opinions on that. But again, you're free to have whatever opinion you want. Now, I don't tell you what to think on this channel at all. Nate, I remember you got a lot of hate since the Kirk assassination, but you're one of the few who stood your ground on your opinion. Take care. Thank you. Yeah, of course we did. Yeah, we got a ton of backlash for it, but I have not budged. I have not budged an inch on what I believed with the official FBI narrative. Not once since 24 hours into the war. Nate, where are emojis? I know they're promised 3,000 years ago. I have them done. I just need to upload them into the system. I just keep forgetting. Right now it's crazy, guys. Like with moving and everything we have going on, I'm just trying my best to keep up at the moment. Break song, again, doesn't have a name. It was just custom made for me by my buddy Jared. Which, by the way, did this ever load? There we go. That finally loaded. All right, let's I'm gonna put Jared Taylor's, my buddy Jared's, link to his band, because if you like that music, you'll probably like Jared's band. And if you like sort of like old school kind of emo rock, can I pin this? No. You'll like Jared's music. Very, very good, actually. Very, very good musician. So if you like the intro song, you'll probably like Jared's stuff. It's in the pinned comment. Ian, early investigation about CK pointed out a possibility that based on a crack bang analysis that pointed to a point on Charlie's 2 o'clock. Can you check it? I guess you know how to do it to do it correct. Crack bang analysis from Charlie's 2 o'clock, which would have been that way. No, doesn't make sense. Ballistics or that wouldn't work. It would have hit him in the wrong side of the neck. It would hit him in the right side of the neck if it was at his 2 o'clock. Wouldn't have been able to hit him in the left side of the neck coming in. So there's no way. Unless it hit him in the back of the head and that was an exit wound. That would be the only way. But it couldn't have hit him in the back of the head because the 2 o'clock is coming from the front. So 2 o'clock is impossible. Wouldn't have worked at all. It would have hit him in the right side of the neck, not the left side. So no, that doesn't work at all. How far back do you think this goes? Probably 3,000 years would be my guess. But the Superman neck, you can turn a 5.56 to a 3.06, right? Right. Yeah, the rubber band neck. Remember that one? Nick Fuentes told us the rubber band neck. That the round went into his neck and then the back part of his skin and his neck actually trampolined the round back 180 degrees the other direction. That was one of the theories as well. Silly stuff. Genghis says, with the Trump shooting likely being staged, do you think Crooks is still alive? Remember that short video of his... No. They schwacked him, dude. That's what they do with patsies. Remember the short video of his father with masked person, cap, and hoodie, getting ready to red van, possibly Crooks? No. They schwacked the kid for sure. That's the patsy. That's what they need the patsy. They needed to get rid of him, right? So, and because that ended everything. Because they killed him on the spot. No investigation. Nothing needed. Move on with the story. So, no. I do think it was some type of setup, potentially. I mean, a lot of propaganda probably involved in that. But no, I think they definitely, like somebody said, no loose ends in here. I think they definitely snip those loose ends on that one. That's typically what they do, right? They need to do that. They don't want you talking. How much AI is going into that missing camera footage from behind that fateful day? That's a great question because it's been 6 months and now all of a sudden we're finally seeing that footage. Good question. I don't know. So an 06 round weighs almost an ounce. Where's the rest? No exit. 223. Yeah, I think you're far more likely to see a 223. Yeah. Oh well. According to MAGA, now they're going to tell you that 30-06 round just disintegrated inside of his body, other than a little fragment. But there's no exit. Yeah. So it's the disintegrate. So it was a frangible round, I guess. Even though we know the human neck vertebrae would have been blown out by a frangible round because our buddies did the actual ballistic tests that showed that as well. So I don't know, man. They'll find some bullshit excuse, I'm sure. The Dow's over 50K. Say thank you to Bill for the Dow. Pam Bongina, Tim Dillon. That's a Tim Dillon quote. That's funny. And yeah, it hasn't been over 50,000 since she said that. Like the moment she said it was the top. She called the top of the market on that. Joel, thank you. Puppy Paws says, breaking news, Spider Cash finds Tyler Robinson's passport in the Strait of Hormuz. With just like the passports in Ground Zero. With Journal stating that he is the real biggie. Everyone go home, go to sleep. We got him. Yeah. They'll tie it all together somehow. You see Bongina got ratioed by Massey on X today. I did. I saw him get destroyed by Thomas Massey on X. If you guys haven't seen that, there's my buddy sent it to me. Dan Bongino tried to talk shit to Thomas Massey, of course, and then Thomas Massey roasted him and just absolutely ratioed him into oblivion. David says, after 28 years as a federal special agent, it's beyond embarrassing with the investigations going on. It's basic crime scene and evidence integrity. It's crazy. Nate, yeah, I know. And this is why we're going to have Chris Piota on this Friday. So Chris can, again, the dude was basically the third highest rank in the FBI you can get at the end of his career, 25-year career in the FBI. Awesome, dude. If you guys, a lot of you already know Chris because he's been on my show a few times. He's going to walk us through the disaster that this has been, like you just mentioned, as a special agent. So should be a very interesting episode Friday. Have you explored how Peter Thiel is dismantling our government institutions? Yeah, a little bit here and there. It's mainly through implanting Palantir network into government, which I'm very familiar with because we use Palantir in special operations for actual intel software. So yeah, I know a lot about how that's working, and it's scary. That's why I don't like JD Vance, and I would never vote for him or support him. Kid Rock hasn't been relevant since the Mountain Dew and Surge commercials in the early 2000s. It's true. People, please watch Court TV. You might learn something about conclusive versus inconclusive evidence. I know. That's like they don't understand those are two different words. This is great. Everybody who's confused, look at this comment. Those are two different words. Okay? They're not the same word. They mean two different things. Right? Okay, glad we have that. Oh, somebody said I miss Surge. That was like my favorite drink when I was a kid. Sometimes I'll randomly find one in a like a random gas station in some weird place, and I'll always buy one. It's not as good as it used to be when I was 10, but I'll still buy it for the nostalgia. Rip Its. Oh my God. Rip Its. That's the GOAT drink though, man. Oh God. I loved Rip Its. I don't think I've ever tried Rip Its back home, but man, in Afghanistan, Rip Its, oh, they hit so hard. I would carry a dump pouch with like 3 or 4 of those on every combat operation and just fucking pound them, dude. For those of you who don't know about Rip Its that didn't serve in the military, if you ever at a gas station and you see a little half can energy drink called a Rip It, you need to buy one and you need to try it for yourself. You got to try it for yourself. Okay. As Gen Z, it's hard to keep my motivation to join. I still want to. Yeah, it's not looking great right now. I'm very pro military, very pro young men joining the military. I will say right now, maybe wait like a year. Okay. And you guys know I'm always an advocate for joining the military. Maybe like do construction for a year and then see how this shit pans out is what I would probably suggest right now. So my suggestion's kind of like maybe let's wait and see what this psychopath does in the next month or two. You know what I mean? So go work a tough job like roofing or construction and it'll get you ready. We suggest that to a lot of young guys in general before they join the military. AMC Pro says that same Navy vet also said that I should looking for a better paying job if I'm worried about not affording goods. We work on John Deere tractors, which is going to be affected by this war. Oil parts. Oh, your coworker who told you don't know the price of freedom. Yeah, no. First of all, let me tell you this. And all the veterans in here will agree. Any veteran who actually says some cringe bullshit like that to you, I can promise you, never deployed to combat. And guaranteed was not in a combat MOS. Nobody who went and fought the war says some shit like that to civilians. Okay. So you can know right away. And I guarantee you look at the chat to all the veterans and combat veterans in the chat. And they're going to tell you, yeah, I would never say some fucking bullshit, cringe shit like that to my coworkers. Like that's just not a thing. So you'd know right away that dude's a fraud. Not a fraud, but he was probably, a fueler or a tanker. Nothing wrong with those jobs. But that's not the way a combat veteran is going to talk to you, ever. Not a single one I've ever met in my life speaks to people that way like that. VNRE is not part of VSC at the VA. I was a GS-11 Raider when I was reassigned. VNRE? Oh, I went through VNRE. Or is that when you're active duty still? I don't remember exactly how it works. I know that's a claims processing, or of some sort. I forget how there's a lot of different acronyms and stuff for the full system there. Let's see. Hell and I just want to say thanks for everything you've done. I have MEPS on Thursday. Do you think we're sending troops into Iran? Well, again, this is another one. Yeah, but I mean, here's the thing. You just joining now, you got to go through basic training. You got to go through your MLS school. You got to go to a unit. Even if you're in combat arms, you've got, I would say, a minimum 9 months before you probably would ever get deployed anyway. So not something you need to worry about for now. You'll be okay for a while. You gotta go through all your training first. Excuse me. Excuse me. Did you catch a while back when Trump said the Declaration of Independence was written during the Civil War because Americans were killing each other by the thousands? Politics aside, he's slow. No, I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen that one, but I would not be surprised if he had said that at one point. What's the difference between America First and MAGA? I was under the impression they're supposed to be the same thing. No, they are supposed to be the same thing. Yes, you are under the correct impression. America First is the conservative offshoot of people who have left MAGA, because MAGA is no longer America First policy-wise. Okay, Donald Trump is America Last, or greatest ally first, you could say. So what America First says is it's the conservative offshoot from MAGA of people who have always believed what we've believed as conservatives, and that is we want to put America first and the American working class person first. That's how I like really draw the distinctions. Not corporations, not the pharmaceutical industry, not the military industrial complex, not Donald Trump's oil buddies, right? It's the American working class people. So if it's policies that doesn't directly benefit the American working class people, I want nothing to fucking do with it. And that includes another forever random regime change war in the Middle East that does nothing but spill blood for what, sand and oil? Yeah, no, we don't want any of that. So that's what America First as a political movement is that in itself. MAGA is not conservative. There's nothing like ideologically wise about MAGA that is conservative, and it also is not America First. Now, just because they say make America great again, well, they're not doing anything to do that. So that's the big distinction between America First and MAGA currently, right? Again, it's just America First is just mostly people that not everybody, because like me, I've never been a big fan of Donald Trump, but I was a Republican. I was a conservative Republican for my entire life. And then I left the Republican Party and identify now as America First. But I am still the same person who believes the same things as a conservative. So that is that's kind of the big distinction between the two. Oh Lord, and now we have two former congressmen saying on record that we have an alien hybrid program and that some of our government getting any weirder. I can't deal with alien hybrids right now, dude. Sorry, I'm capped out. I'm capped out on the insanity right now. I can't do alien hybrids in 2026. You gotta wait for 2027 for that. Okay. Nope, not doing it. Nope. Put it on the back burner. We'll get to alien hybrids next year. Everything's too crazy. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate you, brother. Big Dog says, who do you trust your life dependent on? A WWE wrestling promo or a White House press conference? A WWE wrestling promo. I love WWE, dude. I watch Raw and SmackDown every week. Did you guys know that? I love WWE, dude. I love WWE. Yeah. So obviously WWE promo for sure. Get Randy Orton up there, dude. Give him a press briefing. Let him make some decisions. You know what I mean? He's one of my favorites. Let's see what else. Have you talked to Cag Daddy? Oh yeah. Do you support our fearless leader in chief? Oh yeah, I'm sure he does. Yeah, I talked to Brent yesterday, I think. Talked to Brent all the time. Yeah, I'm actually partnered with Brent on his men's clinic that he has, which we haven't talked about it yet on the channel. We talked about it a little bit next week, but they're still getting everything ready, getting the website put together and finished. Should be like later this week that we start actually talking about it. But yeah. Yep. Brent's my boy. He loves Israel. He loves himself some Israel, but I still love Brent to death, man. You know what I mean? Brent can have whatever opinions he wants. I still am gonna love him. So there's that. Now let's see. Isn't abortion inherently affecting other people? How? What are you talking about? The unborn child in the womb? Sure, yeah. But that's not my business because I'm not a female. And I've said this 100 times. Abortion, specifically on the issue of abortion, I have no problem telling you guys my politics or my ideology, specifically on abortion. Said this before. I am a man, not a woman. I can't have a child. It is not up to me to make decisions about what women need to do with their bodies, especially women I don't know. Okay. I don't personally agree with abortion at all. I believe it's killing a baby. I believe it's killing a child 100%. But I also believe that it is not my place, nor do I think men should even be able to vote on the issue of abortion because it's none of our fucking business. We're not women. So I know people get upset about that. Christians get upset about that, but that's me as a sort of a social libertarian. It's not my place to tell women what to do with their bodies. And even though I disagree with what they're doing, it's not my life. So no, I don't think it's my position as a man to fucking enter into whatever women need to do for themselves. Okay. It's just not my choice. Right. And so my body, my choice. Yeah. I mean, that's how I felt about COVID. Right. If I take that same ideology and I look at the COVID vaccination and I said, my body, my fucking choice, you don't tell me what to do with my body. It goes the same way because I'm not a hypocrite. So again, personally, I would never do it. I would never allow it. I would never support it for my own life. But for women, not my business. I don't think men should even be in the fucking discussion. I think it should be an issue that only women are allowed to vote on. And if women want to vote state by state to ban abortion, then ban abortion. That's the way it goes. But if they don't want to, then fucking that's the way it goes. Okay. Just like I don't want you to touch my gun rights. So And again, if you don't like that, okay, that's fine. But that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. It's the way I've always looked at it. How would they deport 100 million? They claimed if there's only 30 million. I don't know. What do you mean 100 million? Where did the 100 million come from? We're just throwing out numbers fucking wazoo now. Bobby says, my beliefs in America: support your nation, help your neighbors when possible, believe in your God, and be a positive impact in your community instead of negative. Pretty simple for a good life. Yeah, this is you live a good, happy life just doing this, and we would be in a much better country if everybody actually was just focused on these things, right? And this is what I tell people when people ask, what can I do? What Bobby just said. You want to improve your life in your local community? This is exactly what you can do. Okay? Be a positive impact on those around you. Live your life in acts of service to others, and your family, your kids, your wife, and you'll find happiness. Okay, let's keep moving. Thank you, Bobby. No Limit says, do you think immigration will always rise since immigrants often support policies that allow more people from their home country to immigrate as well? Depends. It depends. The problem, here's the big problem, is for all the talk that we do about immigration policy, it's never passed by Congress. It's all done by executive action. Why is that a problem? Well, each time a new president comes in, they just wipe off what the last president did, which is exactly what's going to happen when Donald Trump leaves office and a Democrat comes in. They'll just wipe his executive actions away. We need Congress to actually develop good immigration policy that both the left and the right should be supportive of if it's common sense immigration policy. But they refuse to do that because neither side really wants immigration to stop. Okay, because you have the big businesses, the ranching, farming, manufacturing, agriculture. They want the cheap labor. And then you have the other side that looks at it more from a emotional, and I'm not trying to say that rudely, but more of an empathetic, emotional sense of like, these people are just looking for a better life, so I want to welcome them into our country. Okay, so you have two sides who want immigration to continue, and even with H-1Bs, right? Even in the tech world, in the AI world, right? There's the immigration that they want coming in there for cheap labor, because that's still cheap labor. If you think about, if you didn't know this, at your local college, right? If you have an instructor who's from China or from India, and I promise you that you do at universities, they're getting paid 30 to 40% less than their American coworkers, even in higher upper education, even in the tech world, even at places like Google. You'll understand that. That's why you're never going to see immigration probably go down, is because both sides want it. So that's also why we get no congressional immigration policy changes, because they don't want the changes to happen. So it is what it is. So that's just the way it's going to be for now, until somebody actually comes in and makes the real changes through Congress. And we haven't seen anybody want to do that yet. So, what do you think of the Army helicopters hovering by Kid Rock's pool and Hegseth interfering with Army, saying no punishment, no investigation, carry on Patriots? Yeah, I think it's disgusting. Why the fuck are Army helicopters flying over and doing flybys and sitting there hovering so that Kid Rock can salute them, right? Do we not have better things to do? Are we not fighting a war? Also, the way I always look at it was, what if Joe Biden was president and they did that at Taylor Swift's house? What would the right say? They would throw the biggest fucking ballistic tantrum you've ever seen in your life. Okay, so it's fucking dumb. Why are we doing that? Why is the U.S. military flying helicopters to Kid Rock's house? No, I'll pass on that. No thanks. You would think we have better things to do in the military than that. And of course, Pete Hegseth came out and said there'd be no punishment for that because he's a fucking douche. All right. The longer Tyler stays in jail, better odds the feds will Epstein his ass. Yeah. Only option with their non-tactical narrative. I'm sure glad the FBI don't run Black Ops missions. Can you imagine? FBI HRT is actually pretty good, man. Not that they're doing Black Ops missions. That's their SWAT team, I guess you could call it. They're pretty decent. They're not special operations level, but they're pretty good. But yeah, they're not. Yeah. But to your point, yeah, the longer he's in prison or in jail, the sketchier it gets. Dank says, oh shit, this is Danks. This is let's put Danks I'm gonna put Danks Danks is this actual channel up here, guys. He was the one who we used all of his research for to talk about the FARA issues, the foreign involvements with all our little goy friends being bought out by Israel. So let's put Danks' Twitter up. He does great work. He's been doing awesome work investigating the Charlie Kirk situation and everything going on with that. So we'll put it up here and pin comment that. All right, so make sure you guys go follow Danks on Twitter, because again, that was all his stuff we saw at the beginning of the show was from his Twitter page. So thank you, Danks. Appreciate you, brother. If only a fragment and no exit wound, is it really a fragment? We don't know. We have no idea what's actually there. But remember, but here's the problem. Wait. Let me back up. I just thought about this. Now, remember what TPUSA told us? Charlie was shot in the neck and they found the whole slug lodged in the T1. Remember? That was the story we were operating under for months because Andrew Colvett came out and told us that. Even Stephen Gardner came out and told me that on my show that Andrew Colvett had said that. Remember? So now there's no actual round. There's just a little sliver of a fragment. What happened, TPUSA? What happened to the whole slug, the whole round? Oh my gosh. Were you lying about that too? Sounds like you were lying about another thing. Interesting, isn't it? The more we learn, the more lies get unfolded. All right. Left-wing Latino man here. I may not agree with you on everything, but I love your show. You're an honorable and not a grifter. Well, appreciate it. That's super nice of you. Thank you very much. Appreciate having you here. If you do join, ladies and gents, don't take the first job the recruiter shows you on video. If you have a high ASVAB score, that's how you end up a 19-kilo tanker like me or an 11 Bravo. Unless you want to be. There's nothing wrong with combat arms job. I did one. But he's not wrong. If you have a high GT score, you should be looking at high skill jobs, cryptological linguists, things like that. If you want to be a grunt, even if you're smart, go be a grunt, man. Go be a grunt. Jesse says the music intro or the music video song exposes who really off Charlie and questions about the tragedy of Charlie Kirk by Jesse Lee Lord. I haven't heard that one yet. I'm sure I'll come across it. Do you like Bernie Sanders? I like Bernie Sanders more and more. As I get older. I don't agree with a lot of what Bernie has to say because he's a socialist, but he's a populist. Bernie is a populist, and I'm a populist at heart. So while we don't agree on everything, we do agree on a lot from a what me and Bernie don't agree on necessarily is the policies to implement to make the changes or make things successful. But we agree a lot on a lot ideologically, right? Like corporations are a problem. I don't want billionaires to own 90% of the country's wealth. All these things that I think just we as Americans all kind of agree on, right? Populist Americans, populist left, populist right. So again, there's a lot I don't agree with Bernie on, but I like Bernie more and more. Honestly, the older I get and the more I look at how fucked up our country is. But he's too old now. Now what's sad is he's too old. It's too old to run. I think if Bernie Sanders ran and he was about 10 years younger in this next election, I think he would crush everybody. I think he would absolutely demolish the field. Even though Democrats don't want him, the neocon Democrats have obviously made sure to keep him out. I don't think they'd be able to this time. I think Bernie would probably. He's too old, right? We don't need any more 80-year-olds. Don't get me wrong. I would not support him if he ran now because he's too old. But if he was, 2016 Bernie, I think 2016 Bernie would crush the election this year for sure. Palm Beach Pete looks like Epstein. Yeah, I've seen that guy. People take pictures of him when he's driving by. I lived in the same places at the same time, even has the same pain. Is it him? No, it's definitely not him. He's a doppelganger. I've seen him respond to people filming him when he's in his car. When you actually see him up close, it's definitely not him, but he does look a lot like Big E for sure. 98% of abortions are for convenience. Okay. They should not just have sex with random dudes. Okay. That's not your decision. You make your own decisions for yourself, right? The other 2% should have immutable right to choose. No, you just worry about your fucking self. How about you stop worrying about everybody else and focus on your own fucking life? Because I could roast you into oblivion. Okay. There's a lot of things you could be focused on rather than what other women are doing with their lives. Okay. So again, you're free to have that opinion, but I would highly suggest you focus on yourself for a while. Okay. Rather than what other women are doing. That would be my big suggestion to a lot of people who are so concerned about what other people are doing with their lives. Yeah. You just focus on yourself. Okay. Until you got your own fucking ducks in a row, you probably shouldn't worry about anybody else's. Just saying. People are asking me, please, 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 Mr. President, we are winning too much. We can't take it anymore, says President Donald Trump. Yep, there it is. So if your wife ever wanted abort your unborn son, would you not bother? Did you not fucking listen to a word I said? How fucking dumb are these people? What did I say? What did I say? I said, I personally believe it is killing a child and I would never allow it in my own life. Are you fucking retarded? Do you not listen to the things I say? People, please. I just don't like having to fucking explain shit to fucking somebody with a 50 IQ who's not listening to the words coming out of my mouth. Holy shit, dude. I made that very, very clear when I gave you my opinion on the topic. Okay? Come on now. You guys can do better than that. All right. Sister got upset with me because I told my nephew, who's a Marine, to keep his political opinions off the internet. No, that's 100% good advice. They're going to fry his ass, but she says free speech. No. Active duty soldiers do not have any fucking free speech. That is horrible advice for her to be giving her son in the military. He should keep his fucking opinions off the internet for sure. You do not want to be spouting political bullshit as an active duty soldier. They will fuck you. They will ruin you. No, you do not have freedom of speech. You are owned by the government. You do not have freedom of speech in the military. That is not even remotely true. Well, go walk up to your platoon sergeant and mouth off some shit to him and see if you got freedom of speech. See how that goes for you. You're going to find out real quick. There's no freedom of speech in the military. None. Zero. So no, that's terrible advice. Great advice for you to give your nephew. Terrible advice by you're not the bad guy on that. And you can clip that and send it to her if you need to. But yeah, you don't want to be spouting off. Especially, I'm imagining he's lower enlisted, so he's probably like a private or a specialist. That's a disaster waiting to happen, for sure. No, you're doing the right thing on that, brother. Have you seen that ICE is going to be screening at graduation ceremonies at Paris Island? Jesus Christ, dude. Again, we don't have better things to use ICE for. Like, I don't know. Send them into the gang-ridden areas. Memphis, right? Houston. You could do, I promise you, ICE, if you got the bravery to go do it, you can go find the criminals and the bad guys. But they just don't want to do it. They don't want to go after anybody who's dangerous. So, oh, it's bizarre. Lord of the hamstrings glory. Hey, check out this theory. If the ATF can't match the bullet to the rifle, was the gun just a decoy? Did Robinson plant a clean rifle and bury the real weapon? The mismatch smells fishy. Keep up, brother. I've talked about that on the show as being a possibility, and it would be a very smart thing to do. I literally talked about this on the show before, where I said if I was playing 7D chess myself, then actually going and stashing a rifle that is a completely different caliber than the weapon I was going to use to actually do the assassination is brilliant. Because again, the FBI, what do? They find that rifle. They say they got the murder weapon. They rush the trial. And then it turns out what happens later when the autopsy comes out. Oh shit, the bullet doesn't match. You must have quit. So we've literally talked about that exactly on the channel before. So no, you're thinking the right way. But do I think some 22-year-old dipshit kid thought all that through? No, I don't. Not without help. Not without professional help. Not without professional help. Took the ASVAB today and scored an 85. Hell yeah, that's high, man. That's very, very good. Getting excited going through the process. Appreciate the great content and keeping the masses informed. So you'll be able to do just about any job you want in the military. So if you want to be a grunt, you can do that. If you want to go work on a Navy nuke submarine, you're going to probably be able to do that with an ASVAB score that high too. So choose whatever you want to do. And good luck, brother. Good luck. T Tally says our big beautiful boats should swing over to the Red Sea and take all our big beautiful military equipment away from our greatest ally. Yeah, I agree. I used this person does not exist for my profile picture for obvious reasons. Dork. Oh, we're talking about killing children. Yeah, sure. I'm sure that's not you. I'm sure you have just a random person as your profile picture after you got roasted. Yeah, okay. You're who's the dork? You're donating me money so that I can roast you on the internet, and I'm the dork. You sure? You sure? No, I don't think so. I don't think so, buddy. Turkstein, I freaking love your show, brother. Former 67 uniform here, CH47 crew member, 121 GT score. Hooah! Hooah! Hell yeah, dude. That's a high GT score, too. It's not as high as mine was. My ASVAB score and GT score are very, very high. Everybody thinks I'm retarded because of the way I look, and I get it. But yeah, my ASVAB score was 93, and my GT score was 127. So, but we went straight to Special Forces, so we grunted it. Yeah, I know I look dumb as fuck, and everybody always thought I was an 18 Bravo. Even like literally everybody in my company, battalions would always just assume I was an 18 Bravo, and then they'd hear I was an 18 Echo. 18 Bravo is our weapons sergeant. It's like the lowest IQ requirement in Special Forces. And then I was an 18 Echo, which is communicator, which has much higher typically IQ score that you want for that. But so everybody always thought I'm just dumb as shit. So, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. But I'm not as dumb as I look, I promise. Could you do a favor? Please send me viewers my way for my music. LOL, only one alive threat so far. I sent you a collab invite. I don't know what your music is. I gotta listen to it first. I'm not gonna push. I'll listen to it if you send it to me on Instagram, and if it's good, I'll play it on the channel on the next live. But I'm not gonna pitch it if it's not good, bro. You gotta hear it first. How about a Munchkin bucket hat? Munchkin bucket hats. We don't have any Munchkin bucket hats. That might be a good idea. That might be a good idea. Have you seen the Irish regime with masks and guns saying they know who's behind this, names, and will kill now militias to worry about too? Are you talking about the IRA? They've been around forever, dude. Ireland has been fighting that battle for a long, long time. That's nothing new for Ireland, dude. Ireland's been dealing with militias and mafias and all kinds of shit for a long time. So there's nothing new on that one. Hey, Sarn, take my $5 and don't spend it on the stripper compromising OPSEC for upcoming deployment. By the way, First Amendment don't apply to government property. Yeah, that's right, brother. No, you don't have any First Amendment. Yeah. Hey, look, if you want to spend it on, if you're a young buck and you want to spend it on the strippers before you deploy, knock yourself out, man. You got plenty of time to make. If you're an 18, 19-year-old infantryman, you got plenty of time to make money, okay? I'm not suggesting you do that, but if you want to get some big boobies in your face before you go die in a foreign war in the sand, hey, who am I to tell you not to do that, okay? Who am I to tell you not to do that? Okay? That's not the worst thing you could be doing. Thank you. AJ says ICE would find a bunch of criminal run business in Houston since in some years you have like 20 phone stores on the same street. Yeah, there we go. I just talked about that. Charlie Kirk's case holding up as good as Tim Kennedy's book. That's you could mix in a Tim Kennedy joke. Whenever you can mix in a Tim Kennedy joke, man, that's always going to get Nate to laugh. Always going to get Nate to laugh. JD says, how many drinks would you need to do? What the fuck, JD? How many drinks would you need to do? All right, hold on. Is JD still in here? He's got to be, because that's a recent one, right? Is JD still in here? All right. Well, here's on. I got to ask the question, JD. And I imagine you're still in here since you just dropped it. Are we talking about Kristi Noem's husband in full, what's it called? In full bimbofication? Or are we talking about Kristi Noem's husband just as a regular dude? Because if it's Kristi Noem's husband as a regular dude, hold on. Is what I'm going to say going to be super gay? That's what I got to think about first. Hold on. Time out. Let me think about it first. I'm just going to talk about JD said I don't need 2 Diet Pepsis. In bimbofication, I don't know, dude. Quite a few. But I was in First Special Forces group. We spend all our time in Thailand and Philippines. So we are the Ladyboy group. So it's probably less drinks than most Green Berets. But it'd be quite a few. JD. Thanks for that one. Yeah, well, yeah, for sure. All right, we're having fun here though. Now you can tell what you guys can imagine what me and JD talk pretty much all day, every day via text. You can probably imagine the type of conversations that are going on between me and him. But anyway, that's the way that goes. Thanks, brother. Scored a 96 on my ASVAB. That's higher than me. That's super high. That's almost maxing it, dude. Hell yeah. Nate, why do you think the Trump admin is platforming that washed up tweaker Kid Rock so far? Because he's a pedophile. And they all are, and they love that. He literally talks about it. And he wrote a song about being a pedophile. So, yeah, I would say that's probably why. Am I the only one that still says hua? In Army Special Forces, we don't say hua. It's a no hua zone. Shabbat Shalom song, Nate, featuring Jericho Jerk. Oh, wait, that's yours? Oh, I thought you just meant your music in general. Hold on a second. Hold on. Was this yours? Hold on. I'm going to find it. There's a bunch of them in here. Yeah, send it. I think we've actually shown that I think we've shown that one on the stream. If that's your stuff, that's different. I didn't really know. I thought you meant just your random music in general. But yeah, send me it on Instagram, man. And where I can't, it's not pulling up for some reason when I'm looking it up. Jericho Jerk, right? Oh, whoops, I typed it in wrong. That's why, probably. Oh, where is it? No, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it for some reason. I can't find it right now for some reason. I must be putting it in wrong. But yeah, I'll take a look, man. I'll take a look for it. And then if it's good, we'll play it on the next live stream. I got to make sure I check everything first, man, because I'm not going to pull up random links and stuff. But we'll verify it. All right, gifted 10 Valhalla VST memberships. Thank you, Buff Like Jesus, brother. Appreciate you, brother. Okay, enlisting as a 15 Tango in the National Guard. Not a fan of the war in Iran, but I cannot control the actions of our politicians. Excuse me, got the hiccups. They're always a risk. It's the Army. 100%, man. That's the way it goes. And this is what I tell people. You know, Donald Trump will be president for what, 2 years of your career? Then who knows? You might have Lindsey Graham. You might have, who knows? In 15 years from now, you could still be in. So you really can't make that decision based off of who's in power. Although I will say right now, as we're getting ready to launch a brand new war, that maybe keep those things in mind. But yeah. Did you already talk about AOC and Anna Twitter blow up? She's right. If you vote president on something you call a G word, you're fence sitting. AOC and Anna Paulina Luna had a Twitter blow up. I have not seen that. I did not see any Twitter blow up between the two of them. I'll be on the lookout for it though. Oh, dude, you think I'm drunk? I literally haven't drank in 2 weeks. I'm drinking water out of a red Solo cup because we moved. Right? There's nothing in my home. The studio is the only thing in my home. So I have some plastic cups. See? And I've had nothing to drink in 2 weeks. So this is the problem when all the retards try to say, but see, everybody thinks that I'm drinking, because as you can now see, when Nate's drinking, he's not very drunk because he's the same exact fucking person. So yeah. So anybody who said Nate's drunk, well, sorry, I haven't had a drink in 2 weeks because I'm trying to shred up. I'm trying to catch her in love in the fitness. So there you go. Now you look like fools. Now you look like little fools. Oh, Anna Kasparian, that's even better. Oh, that's even better. Anna Kasparian and AOC going at it. Woo! Ooh. That sounds like something I want to go watch on Twitter for sure. I was trying to tell him if you were drunk, you'd get banned. Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. If I was fully let loose, we'd be on Rumble. We'd be on Rumble because Nate would not be Nate would be a lot more based than you guys realize. This is me keeping it together for the tube. Maybe someday we'll do a drunk Rumble chat. Although I can't even do that because now the channel is so big, I'll just get my stuff clipped and it'll go everybody and they'll ban me anywhere. So I can't get too crazy. Papa says, any advice for someone going 18X at 25, played college baseball and got a 92 on my ASVAB? No, you're the perfect, you in the 128. You You're a little bit older than me, like not much though. A couple years older than me when I went, and I had 93 and a 127. I played college. I was a college athlete as well. No, you're like the perfect candidate. Now, that doesn't mean you're necessarily going to make it, right? Because 18 X-ray is a dangerous game. Not very many 18 X-rays make it. Very, very few. And I mean, like, all the way to becoming a Green Beret, maybe 10% that try. But for you, this is exactly what they're looking for. They're looking for someone who's mid-20s, very smart and intelligent, college or an athlete. Like, you're kind of the prime demographic they're looking for in Army Special Forces. Your age, everything. So no, I mean, you're good to go, man. Just make sure you're in good enough shape, which sounds like you probably are as a college athlete, and go for it, dude. That's what you want to do. But be aware that the success rate is extremely low. Nate, I like to say that I got lucky. You know, I'd like to think that I was some savage, but I think that there's a lot of luck involved as well too. So for me to make it through first try as an 18 X-ray. So just keep that in mind, man. Okay, we made it through, I believe, on all these supers, didn't we? Yes, we did. So that is going to wrap up the show. Under 4 hours tonight. We did it. Yes. Okay. All right. We will be back on Friday at 5 p.m. because, again, we're going to have Chris Biota on. We are going to deep dive the FBI disaster that is the Charlie Kirk investigation from someone who, again, spent 25 years in the FBI. Chris Biota is awesome, by the way. Not your typical Fed, as you'd expect. Very, very critical of the current FBI, so it's always awesome to listen to him. And yes, emojis, I got it. Emojis, I got it. And then, yeah, and then I'll have, regular videos out before that. We'll see if anything crazy enough happens. Maybe we kick off a live stream in between there, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. If we launch this ground invasion that everybody thinks coming, then we'll probably will. But I think if anything, it probably wouldn't come until the weekend. So last one from Bobby says, to all my brothers and sisters who have just joined, keep your ambitions high, your ass low, and keep your political opinions to yourself. I served under Reagan, Bush, and Clinton. I made it. You can too. Great advice. Great advice. Keep your head down. Work hard. Take every opportunity that comes your way. Keep your political opinions to your fucking self. I never talked politics when I was in the military, outside like the team room with the boys and stuff like that here and there. But very, very good. Very, very good advice. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, everybody. Okay, we will be back Friday with gonna be a very good episode for sure. And I will see you all then. I got to get out of here. I got to drive home now. I used to just walk into my house. Now I got to drive back to my house. All right. So I got to grab some dinner and everything. So, all right, guys. Thank you very much. Thanks to all the super chatters. Thanks to the moderators. Thanks to Jasmine, Pumpkin, Buff Like Jesus, Joe. Am I missing anybody? Hopefully not. Sorry. And yeah, we will be back and we will see you on Friday. All right, guys. Catch you in the next one. Oh, Trans TK too. Trans TK. We can't forget you, buddy. All right. See you guys.